Lola's POV. I, Grayson Dawson, alpha of the Moonlit Pack, reject you, Lola Ashton, as my mate and Luna of this pack. I heard Grayson's voice reach my ear, and a single tear ran down my left cheek as it felt like my heart was being ripped out of my chest. Why me? Why am I always on the receiving end of bad things? What have I ever done to deserve this? I wanted to scream and shout at him. I'm his mate, his fated one, and he's rejecting me because I'm the runt of the pack? More tears ran down my cheeks, and I saw him smile at my misfortune. I, Lola Ashton, accept. I did not finish my sentence before he held me up by my throat and snarled in my face. His eyes had already changed colors, so I knew his wolf was in charge. You will not reject me, slut. I am your owner, and I tell you what to do and when. He slapped me across the face and threw me on the ground. I struggled to catch my breath, and tears ran down my face freely. What? I shouldn't have been born. I haven't done anything to deserve this at all. Jasmine howled in pain in my head, and I doubled over in pain, clutching at my chest. I just want this to be over and done with. Maybe when I die, all these pains will go away. I heard mocking laughter above my head and looked up only to see Freya. Freya is the daughter of the current Beta and soon-to-be Luna. She's everything I am not. Beautiful blue eyes with shiny blonde hair, a killer body, glowing skin, strong and extremely wicked. She stood there with her minions, looking at me with pity. I couldn't quite place what that emotion in her eye was. She laughed all of a sudden and kicked me in the stomach. She pulled my hair and slapped me, making me fall back on the floor. You actually thought you could be Luna? That Grayson will pick you over me? You're just a worthless bitch that nobody will love. You bring bad luck and misfortune to people around you. You're a whore that will die alone because no one wants to be with you. She spat in my face and kicked me in the ribs with her heels. I could not say anything because it would be deemed rude, which would worsen my punishment. Her minions held me up as she slapped me repeatedly and punched me in the stomach. She laughed maniacally as I screamed out in pain, and tears ran down my cheeks. When she was done with me, she threw me on the ground, making me hit my head in the process. Jasmine was quiet in my head. She's always trying to take all of my pains away, but the abuses never stop. We've hoped for 8 years that we'd finally find our mate, our one true love bestowed upon us by the moon goddess, and they will love us unconditionally. That's what mates do. We really hoped we'd be free from this slavery, constant mockery, and abuse, but all that has gone down the drain now. All these sufferings started 8 years ago when my parents, the then Alpha and Luna of the Moonlit Pack, died in a rogue incident, and the blame was placed on me. I was just 10. I did not know what really happened. One moment I was chatting happily with Mom and Dad, and they were gone before I could blink my eye. The pack blamed me and stripped me of my alpha powers. They could not allow a traitor to rule them. Till now, I still don't know what I did wrong. I don't know what went wrong. I just had to bear the brunt of it all because the current alpha, who was my father's beta, said so. I was demoted to an omega, the lowest rank for any wolf, the biggest insult to any wolf of high ranking. I became the slave of the pack at a young age. All the people who were nice to me became my enemy and treated me like trash. Jasmine, I'm so sorry for putting us through all of this. If only I wasn't so weak, if only I could stand up for us. I know you've always wanted your mate. I'm so sorry, Jas, I cried through our mind link. None of this is your fault, Lola. I'm sorry for not being able to protect you more. If only I could shift and take all your pain away. Jasmine whimpered in my head sadly. Nobody has ever seen Jasmine. I've only ever met her once myself, and that was before Mom and Dad passed away. She's a pure white wolf with golden eyes. She's a very pretty wolf, but Mom and Dad said I have to keep her hidden. They never told me why. I knew I was special. Mom always called me her special little wolf. Others got their wolf at age 16. Alphas got theirs at age 14. But I've had Jas since I was 8. And besides, I've never seen anyone with a pure white wolf and golden eyes. Everyone thought I didn't have a wolf and looked down on me because of it. We've not been able to shift even if we wanted to, because we don't have the energy for that. There's barely enough to eat, and the beatings we get each day are enough to weaken any wolf. I'm surprised I still have Jasmine with me. I suddenly felt fire in my lower stomach and cried out painfully. People were passing, but no one paid me any attention. Nobody cared if I died. They actually wanted me dead. Jasmine howled in pain in my head as the pain ran wildly through every vein in my body, and I knew Grayson was already getting it on with Freya. This is why he did not allow me to reject him. He knew I was going to be in pain if he was with another woman besides me, and fresh tears started pouring down my cheeks. I weakly stood up and went towards my room in the cold basement. The pain did not stop, it only got worse. I could barely see where I was going and tripped twice. I wanted to curl up and die. It felt like lava was running through my veins, and I removed all my clothes and laid on the stone bed that I always sleep on. The pain gradually subsided and Jasmine went silent in my head. She was so sad, I was very sad too. I just wanted to be special to someone. I don't want a lot. I knew I had to escape this hellhole somehow. I had been bearing it because of the thought of a mate, but now that there's nothing here for me, I had to leave. Grayson and Freya's coronation as the new Alpha and Luna is tomorrow evening. I have to leave. Jasmine and I deserve better, and I need to give it to her. Hang in there, Jasmine. I'll get us out of here as soon as possible, I promise, I said to Jasmine, and heard her lowly whining in acknowledgement of my words as I drifted off to sleep. Lola's POV. Tonight? I have to leave tonight. I sat down on my stone bed, thinking about my life so far. Jasmine has been holding on for too long. I can't let her go through this anymore. I used to be almost everyone's favorite in the pack until Mom and Dad passed. I don't know what came over Aunt Natalie and Uncle Andrew, Grayson's mom and dad. It's like they've been waiting for the opportunity to make me worthless. They used to be very nice until they were not. People who were not in the pack before that incident did not know I was the daughter of the last Alpha and Luna. Everybody in the wolf world thought I was dead. That's what I heard. I can't get raped. I can't get my innocence taken away from me, and by that vile bastard nonetheless. I have to come up with a plan. I don't care if I die running. I have to leave this fucked up pack before I am humiliated. I have to eat this afternoon. I'll need the energy if I'm going to be running. That bastard is definitely going to send people after me, so I have to be in my wolf form. Jasmine, you there? I mind-linked Jazz, and she whimpered in response in my head. I'll need you tonight, girl. I'll need you if I'm ever going to make it out alive. I can't let him do this to me. To us, we have to fight our way out of this bondage. We waited because we thought we might find love, but it's over now, Jazz. We need to run. I said pleadingly to Jasmine. I don't know if I can do it for us, Lola. What if we get killed on sight because of my fur color? What if he catches up to us? What if we don't make it alive? I'm so weak and I've only ever shifted once. I don't want to let you down, Lola. Jasmine said weakly in my head, and fresh tears ran down my cheeks. We don't deserve any of this. Jas, we need to try, girl. There's a full moon out tonight. I heard we get stronger when there's a full moon. Maybe that will give us strength to propel forward, but we can't stay here tonight. We might find help in another pack. Anything but here, Jasmine, I said to her. You're right. We've been taking this for too long. It's time we break free and start over. We run tonight. Jasmine said in my head with newfound determination. Her words made me see rays of hope and newfound determination. I stood up and made my way to the pack kitchen to see if there was any food I could make do with till evening. I need to eat to at least get enough energy to run. I went to the kitchen and slaves were running around cooking up a feast for Freya and Grayson's coronation. I was disappointed and was about to leave when I spotted Jane. Jane is an elderly woman, and she used to be our head cook. She's the only one in the pack who doesn't treat me like I'm beneath her. She can't be nice to me publicly, though, or she'd be punished. She saw me as I was about to leave too, and came to meet me in the hallway. She hugged me with tears in her eyes, and I hugged her back too. She has always been like a grandmother to me. She pulled me towards a dark corner in the hallway, where she broke down in tears seeing my state. She's not been to the pack in a while. I guess she quit her job, but why was she back tonight? She saw her mouth moving and tried to listen to her thoughts. Heard he rejected you and chose Freya anyway. I'm so sorry, Lola. No one deserves to be treated like that by their mate, she whispered with tears running down her cheeks, and I hugged her again. You look malnourished, child. Do they ever feed you? I'm sorry I left without telling you. I had to go see my daughter in another pack. She gave birth to her first child, and I went to see her, she told me while looking me over. My stomach chose that moment to grumble again. I looked down in embarrassment. Have you had anything to eat today, child? I shook my head negatively, and she told me she'd be back for me. As she left, I tried to make myself small and invisible to anyone passing. I can't take any more beating and assault today. I need to be somewhat okay for me to be able to escape. Jane soon came back with a paper bag in her hand. She gave it to me and hugged me tightly after telling me to live well. It was almost like she knew I was going away. I thanked her and left for the basement again. I could not eat a lot. It was almost like my body was used to not being fed and rejected the food. I sighed as I kept the paper bag. I could not let anyone find it, or I'd be punished. I was waiting for night to fall and the coronation to start while praying to the moon goddess to give me the energy and luck to escape this vile land that has done nothing but cause me pain. I shook in my seat when I heard footsteps coming down the basement. I looked up and saw one of the pack guards slightly relaxed. They're not as worse as the high-ranking wolves. It's time for the coronation, and Alpha Grayson requires you to be near the ballroom. His deep voice boomed, making me jump in my seat, and I nodded my head. He turned to leave, and I followed after him. I don't want to incur wrath on myself. I followed him to where the coronation was taking place. It looked magnificent. Beautiful flowers were used to create an arch in the doorway and were also scattered across the room. People dressed in white, women in elegant gowns, and men in fitting suits were scattered around the room, chatting. I stood out in my dirty attire and unkempt appearance. I knew Grayson brought me there to humiliate me and show me that I'd never be his Luna because I was below him. People gave me dirty glances and some even cursed me out, but I kept my head down the whole time. I stood to the side in the ballroom and made myself small. The chatters in the room suddenly quieted down, and I looked up to see Grayson in a black suit that was perfectly tailored to suit him and Freya in a blood-red gown with thigh-high slit that accentuated all of her curves. She looked so good with her hair in waves that she let it down to frame her beautiful face. Her makeup looked minimal, and I could not even deny the fact that she looked stunning. Together, they looked amazing, and Jasmine howled in pain in my head, seeing her mate with another she-wolf. They made their way to the stage, and people started clapping, focusing all of their attention on them. Grayson made eye contact with me and smirked evilly. That gesture made me sick to my stomach because I knew what awaited me if I didn't escape before the coronation ended. Everybody focused their attention on their future rulers, and I took that opportunity to sneak out of the ballroom and out of the pack house. The moon was high up in the sky and shone brightly, almost like the moon goddess was making way for me. I made my way to the end of the pack, avoiding patrol and guards. Security is not as tight at the pack boundary, and I sent a thanks to the moon goddess. Right before I morphed into my wolf, I said the words I should have said since the moment I knew he wasn't going to choose me. Using my original title, I said those words, I, Lola Ashton, the daughter of Alpha Ryan and Luna Lillian of the Moonlit Pack, accept the rejection of Grayson Dawson, the son of Beta Andrew and female Beta Natalie, as his mate and chosen one. I said and felt a surge of power through me. At the same time, I heard a wolf howling in pain and distant. Jasmine took over my body, and I was a pure white wolf. I felt a new burst of energy coursing through my veins. Then I ran. I ran with everything in me and never looked back. Lola's POV. Then I ran. I ran past the pack boundary, feeling the barely there bond I had with the pack break within me, and I felt free. Jasmine howled in happiness as her paws hit the ground, and she charged forward at full speed. I heard distant howling and knew Grayson had sent his men after me. Jasmine charged on wildly, feeling the wind in her fur. I'm sure she's not even bothered about the fact that warriors could have been sent after us. She'd never felt such freedom before and was just basking in it. We were on unclaimed lands, which means rogues could be around. I've heard about rogues, even though I don't know what they looked like. Memories from when Mom and Dad died seem to have vanished. But I do know rogues are dangerous wolves that have lost their touch with their human sides. They're said to look wild, have red eyes, and will kill anything in their sight. I heard howls get closer and knew we had company. Grayson must be so desperate to have sent men after me. I don't even mean anything to him. He shouldn't have bothered himself with things as trivial as me. Jasmine did not falter for once or show any signs of weakness as she charged on dodging branches and jumping over trees. I know we had to lose the wolf on our tail, and also no one can find out about us, so we have to conceal our fur color. We passed a muddy water and Jasmine rolled in it, making our fur brown and dirty. I knew that was not enough to mask our scent, but it sure helped with concealing our color. "Jas, we can't get caught now. We need to mask our scent so we can buy enough time to get us into another pack," I said to her through our mind link. "I know, Lola. We have to find a lake or large body of water and drench ourselves in it, or find a pile of waste to mask our scent. I don't know how far we have to go till we reach a pack that we can crash in," she said, not once stopping to catch her breath. We saw a lake ahead and dived into it. It was freezing and I felt it to my bone even though I wasn't in human form. Jasmine growled lowly and slowly laid down in the part of the water that wasn't too deep, but deep enough to conceal us if anybody passed by. We saw about 5 wolves come into view and stayed as still as we could. I prayed to the moon goddess that I'd not be discovered. I don't know what will be done to me if I go back, and I never want to find out. I'd rather die out here alone than go back to that evil, fucked-up pack. I felt one of the wolves sniff the air around us, and Jasmine held her breath. The wolf came up with nothing, and they lurked around for a while before they turned back the way they came. We waited a while before leaving the lake and running into the forest as fast as our limbs could take us. We ran into the early morning before stopping by a tree to catch our breath. "Jasmine, let me shift back so you can rest a bit before we continue," I said through the mind link. She looked tired, and our limbs were already brown from running all night. "I can't allow you to shift back, human. We did not bring a change of clothes, and it's so cold out here. We need to stay in this form to conserve energy and body heat," she said, and I had to agree with her. We did not think this through. We just wanted to escape without knowing where to go or how to go about it. I did not know our pack was so far from other packs, as I've never been outside that pack for 8 years. Jasmine saw a rabbit and killed it. She ate part of it and left the remaining beside her as we drifted off to sleep. The sun was high up by this time. "I hope we won't be captured in our sleep," was my thought as Jasmine rested her head on her forelimbs and closed her eyes. We woke up when the sun had almost set and began running again. We need to find a pack that will take us in. We did not escape Grayson just to live in this place forever. We continued this way for 2 days, sleeping when the sun is up and running when the sun goes down. We have been in wolf form since we left Moonlit Pack. Our speed has reduced drastically and our fur is already brown from sleeping on the forest floor. On the 3rd day, rain started falling and we could not stop to sleep. Jasmine was about to lay down under a big shaded tree when a smell filled our nose. It smelled like a dead rat, but 10 times worse. Jasmine rolled on the muddy floor to really conceal our fur color, seeing as we had company. Through the heavy rain, we saw glowing red eyes. Rouge. The wolf looked wild and feral, and the rotten smell came from it, despite the heavy rainfall. It snarled at us, and our survival instincts kicked in, making us growl back too. The wolf eyed us hungrily, and we snapped at him, daring him to come closer. He growled loudly and charged at us, trying to get a hold of our neck. She instinctively moved to the side, and the rouge wolf missed. This seemed to annoy him, and he made a move to snap at our left hind limb. We did not see that coming, and he bit a chunk off our hind limb. We howled in pain and limped to the side when the wolf tried to attack us again. We instinctively slashed at his chest, and he fell backward. We started circling each other, and the rogue moved to bite the left side of our stomach. He grabbed us unexpectedly and bit off a bit of our stomach, making blood stain our fur. Suddenly, a surge of electricity ran through us, and the rogue was thrown back, hitting his back on a tree. He charged towards us again, and we moved to the right, biting into his neck when he came close enough. He struggled to release himself, but we held him down, making blood spill everywhere, including our fur. We dropped him to the ground and stood on top of him, clawing at him blindly, making him howl out in pain. Right before his life ended, his eyes shone with something I could not quite place. I think it was fear, and I wondered what he saw in our eyes that made him afraid. Once he was dead, I ran. I ran until I came across a claimed territory. I ran into the land and heard howls around me. They thought I was a rogue. I ran into the middle of the pack and felt myself being surrounded by big wolves. They snarled at me, and I snarled back. I'm not going to get treated like trash again. I'm not going to be imprisoned again. I was about to attack one of them when I felt a needle in my side. I got dizzy and fell to the ground, changing into my human form. Naked. Take her to the dungeon and await the Alpha's order, I heard as I was picked off the ground by rough hands. I thought I escaped this. I'm going to really die now, were my thoughts as I lost consciousness. Adrian's POV. I sat down dejectedly at the back of the car as Thomas, one of the pack warriors I took with me, drove back to the pack. Another search for my mate to other packs proved to be futile. I have been doing this for 2 years now, and all proved abortive. What I want the most in this life is my mate, someone I can love and cherish and call my own. Someone who will rule my kingdom alongside me and bear my pups when the time is right. My own queen. I see my parents in love every day, and I wish I could have that for myself. My dad loves my mom so much, and the same goes for her too. They have the kind of love I wish I'd always get, but I haven't found my mate. I have been going round packs under the guise of checking up on them, but my motive is to find my mate. A mate has been chosen for me, but I don't want to live like that. I will be crowned the Alpha King soon, and I need my Luna beside me to get that title. This is my last trip to find my mate. I've gone to every pack and still nothing. My heart felt heavy and I cursed out the moon goddess as I made my way back to the pack. A mate has been chosen for me in case I do not find my mate. She'd be crowned Alpha Queen alongside me. I did not like that idea, but Dad said it was for my own good. It was to prevent alphas from rebelling against me. I guess I have to put my people before my desires. We got to the pack house and I was welcomed by my mom. At 43, she looked nothing over 25. Damn werewolf gene. I took after her facially, but have my dad's physique. She came running out of our home and peered into the car excitedly. Her face dropped in sadness when she saw it empty. I shook my head negatively as she looked at me, and she came to hug me. She held my hand as she led me into the house. We met my dad in the kitchen area with a newspaper in his hand, and he looked up as we entered. He saw that I came back empty-handed and came to hug me sympathetically. My parents have always supported me in whatever I did. I'm not even mad at them for choosing a mate for me. They're only doing what's best for me. I excused myself and went into my room. Daxon sighed sadly in my head, and I felt so sad for him. I want my mate too, but it's harder for him, as my wolf sighed, to be without his true mate. We tried our best, Daxon. Maybe the moon goddess doesn't have a partner for us, or maybe she's dead. We've searched every pack and come up with nothing. I am the next Alpha King. I need to consider my people before my own needs now, I said to him through our mind link, and he receded to the back of my mind, not even replying to me. I was about to undress when I felt my best friend and next beta, Nathan, trying to reach me through the pack's mind link. I put down my barrier and heard his voice. "Yo man, you're back already. Did you find her?" he asked me excitedly. Everyone has been waiting for their next Luna since I turned 14, so I get why he's so excited. Nah, bro, I did not find her. I guess the moon goddess doesn't have a mate for me. I laughed dryly through the mind link and heard him sigh. I'm so sorry, man. Actually, I mind-linked you to tell you we found a rogue on Packlands earlier today. Dylan told the men to take her to the dungeon. We were waiting for you to come back to decide what to do with her, Nathan said through the mind link. Rogue? A female rogue? We haven't had any rogue attacks since forever. What were the patrol wolves doing when she came into the Packlands? Did she hurt anybody? And why is she still alive, Nathan? I said with anger. We haven't had a rogue attack for 8 years now. The last one took something precious from me, and I hate rogues with passion. They're vile, dirty creatures that do not deserve any sympathy from anyone. Man, she looked so weak and afraid. It was like she was running from something. She wasn't feral, she was afraid, and she turned back into her human form once she was tranquilized. Besides, it was early hours of the morning, and the men on patrol were few. Nathan tried to make me see reason, but I wasn't having any of it. I don't care, Nathan. Rogues are dangerous creatures and should be killed on sight. I don't want her near my pack members. Kill her, Nathan, I said angrily through the mind link and put up my barrier. As I removed my shirt, I heard Faye, my chosen mate, come in. Faye is beautiful and loved by everyone, but she's not my mate. Daxon and I do not feel anything for her. We want mate. You're back, Adrian. I heard you did not find your mate, she whispered in my heart in what she thought was sexy, and I felt disgusted. Get your hands off me and get out of my room, Faye. I growled out in my alpha voice, and she scurried out of my room. I did not want to be mated with another one other than my mate. I want to feel everything Mom and Dad have. I was done bathing and about to get some shut-eye when Mom came barging into my room looking angry. Uh-oh. I don't know what I did, but Mom can be pretty scary when she's mad. I did not train you to be like this, Adrian Lucas Woods, Mom said angrily, and I knew I was in trouble because she used my full name. I didn't do anything, Mom. I just got back from my trip and I came to my room. I haven't done anything, I promise. I looked at her thinking about what I could have done wrong. Was it because I told Faye to get out? Mom doesn't even like her like that. She just agreed because she's the best option for me. That's exactly what you did. You did not do anything. A rogue was caught on the Pack lands after 8 years, and you were not going to find out what brought her into our land? You're the next Alpha King, Adrian. You can't take things lightly like this. What if there are more of them, and she's a spy? What if we can get more information out of her, and you gave orders that she should be killed? Mom exclaimed angrily and marched out of my room. I sighed and mind-linked Nathan that I'll be at the dungeon in half an hour and nothing must be done to the rogue. I dressed up and went downstairs to get something to eat. I'll need the energy to deal with that motherfucking intruder. I left the pack house and felt Daxon get restless in my head. He's never restless, and that got me worried. What's it, buddy? Is something wrong? I asked through our mind link. I don't know. I have the feeling that something is about to happen at the dungeon. I can't place what it's going to be, Daxon replied. I quickened my pace to the dungeon. I hope I don't shed blood today. I'm unstoppable once I start, another reason I need my mate. Fuck you, moon goddess. Lola's POV. I woke up to stinging pain in my side, stomach, and left leg. Shit, my wounds from when that rogue attacked me haven't fully healed. I sat up and saw that I was in the chain, silver chains. It was bound to my legs and hands, but I did not feel any pain. Silver is harmful to werewolves. I have seen people in my former pack get hurt when they touch pure silver. I guess that doesn't apply to me. Lucky me. I could not feel Jasmine in my head and started panicking. She's always been quiet, but right now, she just seems to be missing from my subconscious. Jasmine, are you there, girl? Jasmine, please give me a response. Something, anything to confirm that you're still with me. I called out in panic in my head, my eyes starting to tear up. I can't lose Jasmine. She's the only one I have left in this cruel world. She's a part of me I don't ever want to lose. I'm trying to get some shut-eye, Lola. Why the fuck is your voice so loud? I was in my form for days to protect you, and disturbing my peace is what you used to pay me back? Ungrateful human. Jasmine said playfully in my head, and I sighed in relief, my tears finally spilling onto my cheeks. You scared me, girl. I thought I lost you too. I sobbed into the mind link. Thank the moon goddess. You can't get rid of me that easy, girl. You're stuck with me for the rest of your life, she said with laughter in her voice, and I laughed weakly too. She's here forever. I need to stop panicking. Jas, it's like we have a kind of connection with dark places and imprisonment. We're back to being locked up, and this time we are in chains, I said to her with fake happiness, and she laughed. Jasmine actually laughed. I haven't heard her beautiful laughter since we became slaves in the Moonlit Pack. We're intruders, Lola. We can't be allowed to roam pack lands freely. We'll probably get punished when the Alpha gets here. That's the only reason why we're still here in this dungeon, she said to me, and I nodded. She has a point. Even if we get killed here, At least that motherfucking son of a gun did not strip us of everything. We're going to die with our innocence intact. I could not bear the thought of being touched by that vile creature that should burn in fire for all of eternity, I said with some sense of pride, and felt Jasmine nod her head. Why are you so relaxed, Jasmine? You have never been this relaxed or chatty in 8 years. Am I missing something? I questioned her, seeing as she wasn't bothered about the fact that we were in bondage or imprisoned. I don't know, Lola. I just feel at peace on this land. I just know no harm will come to us, she responded lazily and receded to the back of my mind again. I was left with my thoughts after Jasmine went to sleep. What did she mean by that? Why are we safe in this pack? My thoughts were running at miles per hour when I heard footsteps coming towards my cell. The door opened, and a man about 6 feet tall came in. I could not really see his features because of the darkness, but I saw he was well-built and very masculine. I see you're awake, Rogue. Care to tell me why you're on our land? He snarled at me, and I instinctively made myself small. I'm going to die. Jasmine was wrong. I curled into myself as the man came closer and tried to touch me. I could not look at him as I violently shook and willed quick death upon myself. What if they're worse than my old pack? What if I get defiled and humiliated here? What if Jasmine was wrong and we're going to face worse things than we've been through? These were the thoughts running through my mind as the man came closer. I realized the man hadn't touched me and dared to look up only to see his eyes glazed over. He must be mind-linking someone. I've seen people in my old pack do it even though I had no mind link with them. He suddenly turned on his heels and left without saying a word. I sighed in relief and continued sobbing quietly. I just wanted to die. Life has not been fair to me since Mom and Dad passed. Why did they not take me along? Why did they leave their only daughter in this world filled with evil? Jasmine did not react to all that was going on, and I wanted to smack her if I could. Our lives are on the line, and she's still so chill and relaxed. What kind of wolf does that? Jasmine suddenly got restless in my head, and I laughed out loud mockingly. Now you've realized we're in danger? You were so chill and relaxed just now. What happened to I just feel at peace in this land? I just know no harm will come to us. Why are you suddenly restless, girl? I said to her mockingly. Shush your mouth, Lola. Something is going to happen, but I don't know what it is, she replied, still moving about in my head. I know what it is, Jas. We're going to die. That's what is going to happen. Do you not get it? And please settle down. You're giving me a headache with the constant pacing in my head, I angrily said to her. She's so annoying at times. I had barely said those words to Jasmine when I perceived the most amazing smell in the world. It smelled like coconut and wood pine, and I wanted to stay buried in that smell forever. My eyes widened when I realized I'd felt this before. When I found out my mate was Grayson. I got a second chance, mate. This is very rare in the Wolf Kingdom, and I got a second chance. Jasmine howled happily in my head and bounced around, giving me a headache. A man came in, followed by the man that came in before and stood before me. I saw his glowing golden eyes, and Jasmine said the word in my head, mate. There's the rogue, Alpha, the man from before said, and all my world came crashing down. Alpha? Another Alpha? What kind of sick game is the moon goddess playing with me? Mine! His voice boomed around us, making us know his wolf was in charge. He was coming towards me when his eyes suddenly changed colors, and he stopped abruptly. He seemed to be having an internal battle with himself and turned on his heels and left. Oh, great, our second chance at love doesn't want us to. Way to go, Moon Goddess. Adrian's POV. No, this is not happening. Why does the Moon Goddess keep fucking with me like this? Daxon keeps bugging me to go back to see her. He finally found his mate, and I'm keeping him from her. He wanted to take over my body, but I had to stand my ground. Rogues took something special to me. I can't be with one of them. Mate doesn't smell like them. She's not wild or feral. She looked afraid of us. We did not even get her name before you stormed out of there. We need to go back and get her out of there. Daxon growled in my head, and I blocked him out. I did notice all that he stated, but it didn't matter. She might be a spy, she could be a witch, she could be anything sent to destroy us. I can't allow myself to fall into another trap again. I felt a presence behind me and turned to see Nathan. Hey man, you good? He asked. placing a hand on my shoulder. I don't know how I feel about this whole thing, Nate. I've waited for my mate for a long time, only to be blessed with a rogue. I think the moon goddess is toying with me on purpose. I hung my head in sadness, and Nathan just sat there and listened. I don't know if this helps, but I think she was genuinely running from something or someone. She was covered in blood that did not smell like hers when she entered the pack lands. Also, when I went to the dungeons before you came in, she looked really terrified when I tried to get close to her to ask her questions. Nathan sounded sincere, almost like he sympathized with the rogue. Mate has been hurt? I'll find everybody that's ever laid a hand on her and kill them without mercy. She's mine and mine alone. Daxon thundered in my head, and I rolled my eyes at him. I thought I blocked you out? I sighed into the mind link. We need to go and get Mate. We need to talk to Mate. We need to hold Mate. I don't want to be away from her any longer. Don't make me forcefully take control, Adrian. It will not be good for everybody. He growled threateningly in my head, and I mentally face-palmed myself. I was about to reply to him when I felt Mom trying to mind link me. Adrian Lucas Woods, I need you back at the house now. She yelled in my head, and I groaned. This is the second time Mom will get angry at me today. You're having fun, Celine? I got home and met a fuming Mom on the couch in the living room. Dad was beside her trying to calm her down, and I took a deep breath before I moved towards them. I heard you found your mate, Adrian. Why is she not with you at the moment? Mom said, suddenly calm, and I almost looked away in fear. A calm, angry mom is worse than the one that yells. That means Ezra is the one in control. Mom, she's a rogue. The rogue that was caught on the pack lands today is my mate. You know what rogues took from us. I can't allow myself to fall for the same thing twice. I tried to reason with her, silently pleading to Dad that he should come to my rescue, but he just sat still, not saying anything. Great, I have to deal with two angry wolves. She's your mate for Moon's sake. I don't understand why you left her alone in that dungeon. I'm sure Daxon doesn't agree with your decision. The situation was different 8 years ago. Daxon tried to warn us, but you were adamant. What is wrong with you, Adrian? Mom said angrily, and I just sighed in distress. I can't be with her. I don't care what Nathan or my parents think. She's dangerous. They're all dangerous. She's not any different. I want Mate, human. We need to go and get Mate. Daxon growled and moved around restlessly in my head, giving me a headache in the process. Go, son. Go and get your Luna. As your father and Alpha, I command you to go get me the rogue, Dad said, using his alpha tone on me. Another reason why I wanted to find my Luna early. Father is still the current Alpha King, even though the pack reports to me. He can easily control me with his alpha tone, and I don't like it. Why are you still here? I said go and bring me the rogue. Dad growled at me. I growled back and went in the direction of my room, disobeying his orders. I sincerely wanted my mate. I want to hold her and cherish her forever, but the circumstances surrounding it are holding me back. It's like the moon goddess is having fun playing with my love life. Why can't I get a normal relationship with a normal mate? I want to be able to love my mate without holding back on anything or having suspicions about her, but I get that is out of the book now. As I lay on my bed, I mind-linked Nathan. Where are you, Nathan? I asked once I felt him lower his barrier to the mind link. I left for the pack house, Alpha. Is there a problem? He asked, and I almost groaned with the order I was about to give him. Stupid mate bond. Get the rogue and take her to the pack house. Find a befitting job for her, either as a maid or something, I don't know. Just take her out of the dungeon, I reluctantly said. I didn't want her to get out of the dungeon alive if I had my way, but Daxon wanted his mate, and Mother and Father wanted me to be with her too. I hate my life. I'm going to go ahead with making Faye my Luna. She's strong, beautiful enough, already understands what being a Luna entails, and is not a motherfucking rogue. You're not going to do that. Adrian, you won't treat Mate like she's a slave. She's our fated one. We're supposed to cherish and love forever. And you're not going to throw it out the window because of a stupid mistake you once made. Daxon snarled in my head. I'm mating with Faye the next full moon, and that's it, Daxon. We're the Alpha King. We need a powerful female beside us to rule our people, not some weak rogue wolf. At least she's going to be alive. I'm not killing her like I originally planned. Deal with your emotions, man, I said to Daxon, and cut off the mind link. I'm going ahead with my plan. In 2 months, I'll be mated to Faye. The rogue wolf should be thankful I even kept her alive. I got into bed and tried to get some sleep. Hopefully, I wouldn't have to deal with her again. I will reject her in the morning, and everything will be over. Lola's POV. It's been hours since our second chance mate stormed out of the dungeon. I think it's already a day since we got to this land, and I just sat there thinking about how my life is in shambles. I could not even cry at how things turned out. I wasn't expecting a mate. I just wanted to escape the life of humiliation and constant fear I had to live in Moonlit Pack. My stomach rumbled, reminding me of the fact that I haven't had anything to eat for about 2 days now, not even a drop of water to drink. On the good side, I don't have any urge to relieve myself, so it's a win. I laughed out loud, making the guards at the door look back at me. Yeah, you people should look. My life is a melodrama. I can't even shed tears. I can't find it in me to cry. I just saw down with my back on the wall, laughing maniacally. Jasmine whimpered in pain in my head, and I could not even bring myself to comfort her. This is all my fault, if only she's not stuck with me. We've been rejected twice. The moon goddess must be really having fun with this. Are we really going to die like this? Are we really not worthy of love? Is this the kind of life we'll always lead? Jasmine said lowly in my head. I almost did not hear her. I don't know, Jazz. I thought we were going to have a better life. I thought we were going to finally have freedom since we left Moonlit Pack. But I guess we have to face another rejection from another mate. I laughed humorlessly and hung my head. But he hasn't rejected us. That has to be a good sign, right? I wanted to cry all over again after hearing her say that. Jasmine doesn't deserve any of this. We do not deserve any of this. All we wanted was to get away from the life we had in Moonlit Pack. Your mate is supposed to love and cherish you. All we've ever gotten is rejection. I'm sorry, Jasmine, but with our luck, it will only be a matter of time before he rejects us and probably kill us off. At least we won't be in pain anymore. I sighed and felt tears running down my cheeks. Just when I thought I was out of tears, I heard footsteps coming towards my cell and did not even bother looking up to see who it was. It doesn't smell like our mate, though. I heard the cell doors unlocking and still remained unmoving. If I'm getting killed, they will at least come get me themselves from my position. Also, I'm still in chains, so I really couldn't move around so much even if I wanted to. The man from earlier came closer and I stiffened, hoping to the moon goddess that he won't molest me before killing me. I ran away from that. I don't want to be disrespected the same way here. Get up, the man calmly said, and I stood up shakily and weakly. I could barely see what's in front of me. The adrenaline must have worn off. He came closer and unchained me. He nudged me towards the cell doors, and I complied. I did not want to get extra punishment for disobeying him. He looked like high-ranking wolf, and I did not want to get on his wrong side. We moved down the dark passageway, and my body started trembling uncontrollably. Tears ran down my cheeks without my permission, and I felt so miserable. We left the dungeons, and I had to close my eyes for a short while to be able to adjust to the sudden change. It dawned on me that I haven't eaten in the last 2 days. My hair probably looks like I'd Vavinet through hell, which it did in all honesty. The clothes I was wearing looked somewhat clean, and for that I'm thankful. I'm going to die wearing clean clothes at least. I laughed humorlessly in my head. The man is ahead of me now, with me trudging behind him. We walked towards a large building that I can only assume is the pack house. Yay! We're going to be killed in front of thousands of people. Jas, we tried our best escaping death, but I guess it's for the best, yeah? On a good note, we get to see Mom and Dad now. We get to be happy and worry-free forever, I said to Jasmine in my head with false happiness. I could not even feel the tears running down my cheeks at this point. My cheeks were numb. I was so tired and ready to give up any moment. Jasmine wasn't replying me anymore. I guess she was tired too. I'm sorry, Jasmine. We entered the pack house and every activity seemed to halt. People stared as I followed behind the man that brought me there. I wanted the floor to open up and swallow me at that moment. This is embarrassing. We headed towards the kitchen and I was shocked. What are we doing here? Why am I here with him? What is going on? Why is everybody looking at me with pity? Pity. I did not understand what was going on. My thoughts were trying to drown me until I saw the man's lip moving and tried to force myself back to the present. "And you'll be working with them," the man said, hugged an elderly woman and left. "And I'll be working with them? What's going on? Why am I working instead of being dead?" I was lost and confused. The elderly woman walked up to me. She had warm brown eyes and brown hair with stray strands of gray here and there. She's about 5'3". I know because I was a little bit taller than her and I'm about 5'5". She had a warm smile and a motherly look around her. Something about her wanted me to just curl up in her arms and cry. "Hello, child. I'm Juliana, the head of all workers around here. Nathan said you'll be working with us starting today. What's your name, child?" she asked and smiled at me warmly, reminding me of Jane. "Lola, ma'am," I answered almost inaudibly, partly due to the fact that my voice was almost gone and hoarse, and partly due to my being shy. "You can call me Juliana, sweetheart. You look like you've been through a storm. Let's get you cleaned up and start from there, okay?" I nodded my head at her words and followed her to a room in the pack house. "There's a bathroom in there, and there should be change of clothes in the closet, too. Get dressed and come back to the kitchen, child, so you can get something to eat," she said, and closed the door after I nodded my head in affirmation. "Oh my goddess, what is going on?" was my thought as I stared at the door long after Juliana left. Lola's POV. I was still staring at the door minutes after Juliana left. I was still in shock at the sudden change in my fate. I thought I was going to die, and now I'm taking a bath and being offered food. I really did not get what was going on, but I decided to quickly take my bath. It's been a long time since I had that privilege of bathing in a bathroom, and I don't want to lose my chance and subsequent privilege by making Juliana. I took in the room and was amazed by it. It had a large bed, large to me at least. There was a closet that was barely closing with the amounts of clothes in it. There was a vanity table with lots of girly things that I don't know what their uses are on it. The room itself looked really pretty with floral patterns everywhere and a neatly made bed. I made sure not to touch anything till I got to the bathroom, lest I get something dirty and the owner of the room gets mad at me. I don't want to get beaten or sent back to the dungeon. I slowly made my way to the bathroom and almost cried at the sight of different products for hair and skin that took up a small part of the bathroom. I've never had such luxury. I only heard girls in my former pack talk about it. I gently removed my clothes and placed it on the counter. I made the mistake of looking at myself in the mirror, and fresh tears made their way down my cheeks. No one would really want this kind of body. My eyes looked sunken, and the bags under them looked so big. My face was full of dirt, my hair was matted to my head weirdly, and it hurt me to look at my body. There were bruises all over my stomach, and part of my thighs and legs where I could see. Some were purple, some were brown, and some black. I turned my back and choked on my tears as I saw my back. There were gashes and scars, and my back was covered in bruises. My collarbone was so prominent. My ribs were visible, and I looked so skinny and malnourished. I don't blame Grayson nor our second chance mate. I wouldn't want this kind of body either. I stopped scrutinizing my body in the mirror and went to stand under the shower head. It took me a while to figure it out. I almost froze to death with the cold water and barely avoided scalding myself with the hot water. I finally got a hang of it and set it to the temperature I liked, and stood under it for a while, feeling my new wounds sting and dirt leave my hair and body. I did not use anything inside the bathroom, in fear of getting punished when the owner sees that I touched them. I learnt my lessons the hard way in my old pack. I ran my hands through my hair, and feeling years of accumulated dirt slowly leave my hair. I felt free and new, and cried again in the shower due to how I was feeling. I suddenly went from almost dying to taking an overdue shower, and I don't know what to feel about that. I felt Jasmine purring in my head and smiled a bit. We deserve this after all we've been through. After feeling a bit clean, I turned off the shower and gently used my dirty clothes to dry my body, making sure I did not leave a speck of dust or stain behind in the bathroom. I left the bathroom careful not to slip on the floor, since my body was still a bit wet, my feet especially. I got into the room and saw that a gown had been kept on the bed. I was confused because I did not touch anything before leaving for the bathroom. I picked up the gown and admired it. This is the first time in 8 years I'd be holding anything as nice and beautiful as the gown in my hand. The gown was midnight black and seemed like it would reach my knee. It is a summer gown and has pink dots as beautiful designs on it. It felt soft to touch, and I wasn't sure if someone like me should put on something that pretty. I remembered that I kept Juliana waiting in the kitchen and quickly put on the gown. It reached my knee length, but hung loosely off my body. I finally get to wear something nice, and it doesn't even fit me properly, just my luck. I used my dirty clothes to pat dry my hair and used my hands to detangle it a bit, although it proved to be a problem. I finally gave up on it and left it down as it is. I folded the clothes I had on before and held it in my hands as I left the room. I walked back the direction Juliana and I came from, and the aroma of different foods wafted into my nose as I moved closer, making my stomach grumble even louder. I know we haven't eaten in 3 days, but you have to stop disgracing me like this, I thought in my head as I got closer to the kitchen. I entered the kitchen, and about 10 pairs of eyes landed on me, making me uncomfortable. I found Juliana's eye, and she smiled at me warmly, making me feel at ease a bit. I was glad she wasn't mad. I took my time and mentally let out a sigh of relief. "She's the new girl, Juliana?" A beautiful redhead with popping green eyes asked, looking towards me. I looked down at my hands and bare feet and held my breath, awaiting the insults that would follow. Instead, I felt someone near me and looked up to see the redhead standing close to me. She smelled like strawberries and her skin glowed. "Hi, I'm Lila. Juliana told me your name is Lola, and you'll be working with us now. I'll be your roommate and your new best friend. It's nice to meet you, chica," she said rapidly and with so much energy I could not respond for a few moments. "Nice to meet you too, Lila," I said timidly, and we pulled into a hug. I stiffened and did not know how to respond back. She noticed and pulled back, apologizing to me. "I'm so sorry, Lola. I'm just excited to have a new friend. People say I have a lot of energy and that I talk too much, so they tend to avoid me. I feel like we're going to get along because you're not much of a talker and because I love the color of your hair and the blue of your eyes. Did you dye your hair, or that's the natural color? If it's natural, then that'll be so cool. We'll be the unmatched duo with my red hair and your almost white hair." I'm rambling again, aren't I? She fired off rapidly, only stopping to catch her breath when she saw that I was in awe of how she's talking rapidly and the fact that other people in the kitchen were laughing at her. I laughed lightly, and she clapped her hands in excitement, slightly bouncing on her heels. I like her already. I think I might have escaped the hard life in Moonlit Pack after all. I guess I'm not dying anytime soon, as long as I avoid my mate, whose name I don't even know. I got pulled back into reality when Lila asked me if I had eaten. My stomach took on that moment to make itself known, and everyone laughed at that. Fuck werewolf hearing. I was led to the counter by Lila as Juliana dished food into plates for me. I guess I'm free after all. Lola's POV. Juliana gave me a large portion of food that I knew I couldn't finish and instructed me to eat up. I wanted to tell her I could not finish it, but I did not want her to get mad at me, so I thanked her and started eating. The first bite tasted like heaven, and I hungrily took more spoons, trying to fill myself before I'll be asked to do house chores or get the food taken from me. Oh boy, I've never tasted anything as good as this. Or maybe I did before I became an Omega? I noticed every viewer was quiet and looked up and saw everyone's eyes on me. I dropped my spoon and looked up with my heart racing miles per hour. Great! I've pissed them off by eating hungrily. My eyes clouded over with tears and I tried to keep them in. "Calm down, child. You're going to get indigestion at this rate." Juliana was the first to speak up. I was confused. They were not going to hurl insults at me or beat me up? I looked at them wide-eyed and Tracy came over to my side and patted my shoulder. "No one will take the food from you, Lola. Take your time and eat slowly. You don't want to get sick and make your new roommate sad, do you?" She asked me, and I shook my head negatively. Now eat your food and eat slowly. She put my spoon back in my hands and I felt my tears spill onto my cheeks. She cleaned it gently and gave me a warm smile. I've never received such kindness since Mom and Dad passed. It felt good. I ate my food slower than before, while others went about their chores in the kitchen, chattering away happily. It was a strange sight to behold. In fact, everything since I woke up that morning has been strange. Not getting rejected nor accepted, suddenly escaping death, taking a long warm shower, wearing new clothes, and now maids chatting away happily. Even though I was the only Omega in Moonlit Pack, maids or cooks always had to wear uniforms. They did not have their own rooms or such girly products. They did not speak freely while going about their chores. I might have been treated like a rag, but they were not regarded as humans by the high-ranking wolves either. I felt full and looked at my plate and saw that I still had a bit of food inside it. I wasn't sure how Julie would react, but I called out to her anyway. "Ma'am?" I spoke up and she turned towards me. "It's Juliana or Julie to you, young lady." She put her hands on her hips and stared at me, making my heart race. "I'm sorry, Ma. Juliana." She softened her features and smiled at me with sadness. I really can't tell people's emotions from their eyes. "It's okay, Lola. Take your time with it. What do you want from me?" she asked with a smile still on her face. I can't finish my food. I wanted to ask if I could eat it later." "I'm sorry I can't finish it," I said to her weakly, hoping that she won't get angry and hit me. "Oh, Lola, who hurt you?" "Of course I'm not mad at you, darling. You can only eat what your stomach will take. We don't control how much we eat. Just trash the remaining and wash your plates." She smiled at me, and I slowly nodded my head. I stood up and went over to the trash can to dispose of the remaining food and washed my plates. I placed it where Tracy told me to and joined them to start preparing lunch for the pack members. Apparently, about 150 members live in the pack house and will be coming in to eat soon in batches. The higher-ranking wolves have their own houses in the town, so it's just most teenagers in the pack house and some adults too. We got to work preparing food for 150 wolves with extra in case some want to go for extra. It was fun to say the least. I've never had direct contact with pack members, not even the maids, so I did not know cooking was so much fun. We made fajitas, mac and cheese, and apple pie for dessert. I got to meet the remaining kitchen workers as we worked. There was Rose, Tiana, Justina, Arya, Susan, Chloe, Jessie, and Tanya, I think. I can't really remember all of their names, but I know their faces, and that's what matters, right? I was not talking but listening to them bicker and talk amongst themselves, with Juliana cautioning them once in a while when they're getting out of hand. It was fun, and the most I've ever felt involved in a long time. We soon finished making the food, and I was proud of what I could do, although I was just a part of it. I found out I loved cooking, and I wanted to do it more. Voices were soon heard, and my nerves returned. Juliana noticed my discomfort and said I can excuse myself. I thanked her and dashed to Lila's room. I'm not ready to face a large group of people yet. People can be scary and mean. I've had 8 years of experience. I was sitting on the bed trying to calm my nerves when Lila came in. I quickly got on my feet, hoping she wouldn't be mad. I sat on her bed without her permission. I saw pity in her eyes before she masked it and made me sit on the bed. "You do know I'm not going to get mad at you for sitting on my bed, right? I don't know what you've gone through, but I'm not going to harm you, Lola. Please be comfortable in the room," she said, sitting beside me. I nodded my head and her bubbly personality returned. "Oh, that reminds me. I came in here because Nathan wants to see you. What's your relationship with him?" "Julie said he brought you today, too." I looked at her in confusion. "Nathan? Who's Nathan?" I asked her, still confused. "The guy who brought you here today?" My eyes widened when it finally clicked in my head. Why was he here again? I thought he already left me here to start working. Why was he back for me? I did not know. I was already shaking until Lila shook me out of it. Hey, Lola, I'm sure he's not here to hurt you. Nathan is a nice guy. He's loved by everybody. I'm sure it's all good. Everything is fine. I'll be with you if that helps." She tried reassuring me, and I nodded my head in agreement. We both made our way to the kitchen and saw the man from the dungeon, whom Lila called Nathan, having a chat with Juliana and smiling. Lila cleared her throat and he looked back at us, standing up when he saw us. "Hi, Lola. How are you holding up?" he said kindly to me, and I looked at him in confusion. "Dude, you locked me up without any water or light for a day, and you're asking how I'm holding up." I'm fine, sir," I answered him shakily, and Lila squeezed my arms assuringly. "What's it, Nathan? You're making her uncomfortable," she snapped at him, and I looked at her wide-eyed. He's the next beta, and she's talking to him like that? She'd have been dropped in an instant in Moonlit Pack. He looked at her and rolled his eyes. These two weird are as fuck. "The Luna wants to see her?" My world tilted again as I heard those words. "Oh shit!" Adrian's POV. I woke up in the morning and felt like my head was going to split into two. Daxon is such a petty bitch. He was probably pacing all night, knowing it was going to give a massive headache when I woke up. Fuck you, Daxon. This doesn't change my mind about anything. Just so you know, I said to him through the mind link, and he only growled in reply. I got up and went to brush my teeth and rinsed my face before I decided to go to the basement to work out. It's the only way to let off steam and anger, and I was fucking angry at everything. I went down the stairs and no one was awake yet. I guess it's still early. I checked the time when I entered the basement turned gym, and it was 6:30 a.m. I was surely awake early for someone that has been on a roller coaster of events since yesterday. I took the first swing at the punching bag, and I just imagined it was the moon goddess, the one who decided to play with my life like this. Slam. For making me find my mate late. Slam. For making my mate a rogue, creatures that I despise with my very being. Slam. For making my parents not dislike her because she's my mate. I could have easily gotten rid of her if my parents had seen her as a threat. I punched the bag over and over and over until I felt sticky liquid around my knuckles. My knuckles were bleeding. I didn't even know I was hitting the punching bag so hard until I heard Dad's voice behind me. I pity the poor punching bag. It would have passed out from pain if it were human. "Want to spar with me instead?" he asked, smirking at me. I looked at the wall clock and it was already 9 a.m. I was punching the bag with so much anger and concentration, I did not realize time was far spent. Dad was messing with me on purpose, but I wasn't going to back down. "Bring it on, old man," I said, getting into position and flexing my already healed fingers. Perks of being a werewolf. He smirked and got into position too. He taught me everything I knew about fighting, so it wasn't going to be easy to defeat him, especially when I'm angry like this. I should get some relief from Faye when I'm done here. I threw the first punch and he blocked it, landing one on my stomach, making me stagger back. It hurt like a bitch, but I got into position again. Dad was still smirking at me. He knows what he's doing. "So you're going to reject her?" he asked as I swung another punch in his direction, which he successfully dodged. "She's a rogue, Dad. I have to reject her for the sake of everybody. I can't make the same mistake twice," I said as he landed another blow on my ribs. "I'm sure Daxon doesn't agree with your decision. She's his mate too, you know?" he said, throwing punches I keep dodging. "Daxon is a bitch. He's just being emotional because he felt the mate pull this time around too. I felt the mate pull the last time too, and I know what happened when I acted on it. I got angry and started throwing punches blindly. I wasn't even calculating Dad's next move until he landed a blow that had me on my back. I did not bother sitting up and just sprawled on the floor, breathing heavily. I heard Dad leave the basement and still laid down on the floor, not moving. I sat up after a while and checked the time. It was already noon. Geez, I need to get my act together. I mind-linked Nathan to ask if he had carried out my order. "Hey man, what's up?" His voice came through the mind link. "Where's she?" I asked, not even bothering with pleasantries. I need to know where she is so I can avoid such places. "At the pack house." I handed her over to Julie as a maid. I nodded my head even though he could not see me. At least she's in good hands, not like I care. Juliana is like the pack's nanny. Everybody likes her. "Okay, man. I'll see you later," I told him and cut off the mind link. I stood up and went to my room to freshen up, greeting Mom, who's in the living room on the way. She told me I should come down when I'm done freshening up to eat, and she also had something to discuss with me. I mentally rolled my eyes because I know she's going to talk about mate, but I agreed anyways. I freshened up and changed into a pair of gray sweatpants with a white thin t-shirt that clung to my frame and made my way down to eat my food. I had a cup of fresh coffee while Mom made my food for me. She always treats me like I'm still a baby, which I'm grateful for when it comes to food. She made pancakes, a whole lot of them, and stacked them on my plate. I had them with syrup and strawberries. I love Mom's cooking. It's always so delicious. I finished eating and cleaned my plate and placed it in its proper place before joining Mom in the living room. I knew what she was going to discuss, but decided to humor her nonetheless. "Oh, hey, you're done eating. Took you a while to finish your workout today. Anything bothering you?" She asked innocently, like she had no idea what I was going through. "Mom, cut the act. I'm going to reject her and go ahead with Faye as my Luna as planned," I snapped at her. "No, you're not going to reject her." She boomed in my ear, and I just stood up and made my way to my study to do some paperwork. It's been left to me as the next alpha. I was engrossed in the paperwork. I did not realize time was far spent until I heard my mother's voice in my head. "There's someone I want you to meet. Get down here," she said, and the mind link went quiet. I wonder what she wants now. I exited my room and was hit with the most amazing smell I've ever smelt, pineapple and coconut. I palmed my face when I realized what that meant, but a part of me wanted to know what my supposed mate looks like, so I kept moving towards the scent. I saw her before she saw me. She looked thin and malnourished, and my heart broke at the sight of her. Her eyes met mine, and they widened in fear. She tried to make herself even tinier than she was, and I wanted to slap myself. Daxon whimpered in my head at the sight of her tiny frame, and I almost went up to her to grab her and keep her close to me at all times. Her beautiful blue eyes teared up, and I mentally kicked myself. I'm the cause of her tears and pain. "I don't think I have introduced her to you. Adrian, meet Lola, our new maid." Mom smiled at me mischievously. I looked at her the same time she looked at me with wide eyes and cursed Mom in my head. "What game are you playing, Mom?" "Lola's POV. His new maid? Their new maid?" I think the moon goddess is having too much fun with this. So many scenarios ran through my head as the beta Nathan led me to the pack house after saying the Luna wanted to see me, but this definitely wasn't one of them. I should have allowed Lila to come with me. She wanted to come because she doesn't trust Nathan with me, but I told her it wasn't necessary. I regret that decision now. My eyes found his, and I quickly looked away before he could see the tears in my eyes. I got demoted real quick from a mate to a maid. The thought sounded funny to me, and I laughed out loud, drawing attention to myself. "I'm sorry, Luna." I apologized to the beautiful woman, who looked so young with her beautiful Bambi eyes and shoulder-length hair before me. Her eyes crinkled in laughter, and I bowed my head again. "It's totally fine, Lola. We all have those moments with our thoughts and wolves," she said as she came towards me and patted my cheeks lovingly. "So, child, you'll be working as our live-in maid and help me around the house. Oh, I'm so happy to finally have a female to talk to. These guys are so annoying sometimes, and to think I have to take care of 2 overgrown babies myself, it gets lonely sometimes." She sighed dramatically and put her hands to her forehead exaggeratedly. I smiled at her antics. She seems friendly, and I felt warmth radiate from her. She gives off a motherly vibe. "Hell yeah, like you remember what that actually feels like?" Jasmine mocked in my head, and I almost screamed with excitement from hearing her speak since I left the dungeon. Well, look who decided to show up. "I thought you broke your promise, you sly wolf," I said with a smile in my voice, and she laughed in head. "I missed you too, Lola. You're clingy as hell, though. I've been resting, and it hasn't been 24 hours yet since I last spoke to you," she said, still laughing, and I smiled at her through our mind link. I heard someone clearing their throat and looked up to find the Luna looking at me with a smile in her eyes. Does she know I'm her son's mate? Does she know he's going to reject us? At the thought of rejection, Jasmine whimpered in my head again, and I felt very sad for having to put her through all of these. "So do you know how to cook, sweetheart?" Luna asked me, and I shook my head negatively. "Not to worry, I'd teach you everything you need to know," she said to me, and I nodded my head shyly. "Thank you, Nate. You can leave now, or you've got something to discuss with Adrian?" she asked, looking back at my mate, who hasn't moved a muscle. Adrian. I looked up at him to find him already staring at me. Goosebumps erupted all over my body, and I felt the mate pull, which made me look away shyly. He doesn't want us. He did not even acknowledge me. I'm sure he doesn't even find me attractive. Come with me, darling. I'll show you to your room, then we'll come back and prepare lunch for us. Considering our future Alpha did not have lunch yet. She grabbed my hand and led me towards the stairs where my mate was standing, still staring at me. He stood still as we made our way up the stairs. Our shoulders brushed each other when I passed him, and I swear it was like I was electrocuted, but in a good way. Luna led me down a long hallway and opened up a room that was much larger than Tracy's own I saw before at the pack house. My eyes widened to the size of a saucer at how big the room is. It had to be the largest room I've seen since forever. It was a plain room with no decorations at all. There were 2 doors inside the room. I knew one led to the bathroom, but I had no idea what the second door led to. It has a queen-sized bed, a love seat by the window, and opens into a balcony overlooking the forest. I wanted to run to the open space and breathe in the fresh air, but restrained myself. The Luna has been nothing but nice to me, and I did not want to push my luck by misbehaving in her presence. You like your new room? I know it's plain with no decorations at all, but you can decorate it to your taste. It's yours now. She smiled, and I looked back at her to find her already smiling at me. Yes, Luna. Thank you very much. I bowed my head at her, and she pulled me closer, slightly frowning at me. Please call me Rose. There's no need for formality between us. We'll be living together now. You might as well be comfortable, she told me, and I nodded my head quickly. What do you say we go back downstairs and whip up something for our hungry wolves? She asked. Okay, Lou. Rose, I said meekly and followed after her. As we passed the hallway, I caught wind of Adrian's scent and my eyes widened. The scent seemed to be coming from the third room from mine. Just great. I knew meeting him at some point is inevitable because I live in his home, but a third room from mine? I can't avoid him every day. I sighed and followed after Luna Rose. Seeing how Adrian looked to be around 4, of course his mother will be over 40. She looked not a day over 25. Her brown hair reached her shoulder and looked so silky I wanted to run my hands through it. I touched the split ends of my own hair that's coarse and still tangled somehow and sighed. I'll never be pretty enough for anybody. We reached the kitchen and I could still smell him in the air. Jasmine sniffed too and sighed longingly in my head, and I rolled my eyes at her. Luna Rose moved towards the cooking area and started bringing out ingredients to make dinner. Me all excited and happy, even though I tried to keep it under reins. We started cooking, and it was fun for me. Luna Rose is kind and patient and takes her time to explain things I don't understand to me. She made me feel a bit comfortable, even though I've only been around her for less than an hour. I'm really starting to like this new beginning. I might be rejected by my second chance mate, but at least I'm not struggling from abuse and used as the pack's scapegoat anymore. I relaxed a bit around Luna Rose as we worked together to prepare food for her mate and Adrian. I felt eyes on me all the time I spent in the kitchen, but shook it off. I'd never be accepted anyways. Adrian's POV. She looked so pretty cooking and laughing with Mom as they made food in the kitchen. The way her guard was up, even though Mom was being nice and accommodating, made me realize she's been hurt, and it will take a lot to get her to open up to someone. And yet, you plan to hurt her again? Come on, man, just how stupid can you be? Daxon growled in my head, and I sighed in sadness. I don't want to, buddy. I really don't want to hurt her too, but you know what happened the last time we trusted a rogue. You know what happened the last time I decided to see kindness in one of their kind. I almost lost you too, Daxon. I can't let that happen again. I said into the mind link, and that made Daxon even angrier. No, we know what happened the last time you decided to trust a rogue. I got hurt because of your stupidity and stubbornness the last time, and that's what you're doing again. You're letting my mate slip through my hands, Adrian. She's slipping, and it won't end well for both of us, he argued back, and went silent in my head. I sighed and looked over to where she was again. She looked so malnourished, yet so beautiful. Her platinum blonde hair that looks almost white looks uncared for, but still matches well with her skin color nevertheless. The way her blue eyes seemed to glow amazed me. The human side doesn't get the glowing eyes. Their wolf counterpart does. They seemed to be blazing and unhappy, and I wanted to hold her and tell her all will be well. Her tiny frame hurt me. She looked so frail and fragile, like she'd break if she lifts anything heavy. She makes me want to protect her from all evils of life, but I can't. I saw the way her eyes will flit towards me once in a while, and she'll quickly look away in fear. My mate is not supposed to fear me. She's supposed to love me, and I've pushed her away from me. What was I expecting? Lola. I repeated her name severally in my head, and it just sounded perfect for her. It's like nothing I've ever heard before, even though I know people in the pack with the same name. I remembered the way electricity ran through my body, and all the blood in my body rushed towards my groin area when her shoulder bumped mine on the stairs earlier. I almost lost my balance when her sweet scent overwhelmed me. I think I got a favorite color and fruit now. You don't deserve to have that privilege with her, human. I should be the one to have such privilege. You're such a bastard for even thinking of her when you're going to reject her anyway. Tweet, why did the moon goddess pair me with such an idiot? Daxon growled in my head, and I snickered mentally. I thought you were ignoring me. Why are you back? I asked him, and he ignored me and went silent again. I swear he's such a girl sometimes. Nathan tapped me, and I pulled myself out of my reverie. He looked at me, puzzled. Why are you looking at me like that, man? I asked him. I'm sure you did not hear anything I said at all. I've been talking since forever, and you did not reply to me. Hope everything is fine with you? Nathan asked me, and I just shrugged my shoulders. I'm fine, dude. What did you say? I asked him to avoid being questioned, but he's my best mate and won't let it go. I see the way you've been looking at her, Adrian. You shouldn't lose your chance with her while she's still attracted to you. She seems hurt and has her guard up. Hurting her more will only break her. I've only known her for a day, and she needs to be protected at all cost. Not hurt, he said to me, and I just sighed. I don't know, man. She can't rule alongside me even if she weren't a rogue. A weak one like her will bring a weakness if I accept her. I can't have a weakness as the next Alpha King. I need a woman that can stand her ground and rule my people, and Faye is the one capable of holding that position. I said to him, not even bothering to look at him. It will always break you, Adrian. Even though I haven't found my mate too, I know I'll do anything to protect her and be with her once I do, even if it means defying your orders as my alpha. You may make Faye your Luna, but I know who my true Luna is, Adrian, he said, and made to stand up. I hope you actually see what's in front of you before it's too late. I don't see how you'll be able to avoid her now. She's basically under your nose. Make the right choice, buddy. He patted my shoulder and left towards the door. I'm off, Rose. He hollered at my mom, and she frowned as she looked at him. What? I thought you were staying to have dinner with us. I prepared yours too, she purred at him, and he laughed at her a little. I want to, but Mom just mind-linked me to tell me she made dinner already. You know how scary that woman can be if you waste her food, he said with his eyes wide with fake fear. Oh, I know all right. Moon Goddess, bless such a sweet soul. You send my regards to her and tell her we should have a girls' day out soon, Mom said as she went back to her cooking. I noticed Lola had gone rigid at this point. Was she afraid of Nathan? He seemed to notice too and smiled her way, making her wring her hands more and look down. Bye for now, Lola. See you around? He said to her in a soft voice, and she nodded her head. Yes, Beta Nathan, she answered shakily, and her voice sounded like music to my ears, even though she sounded afraid. I wanted to wrap my hands around her and comfort her from whatever was making her scared, but Mom beat me to it. Darling, relax. You look so tense and anxious. I don't know what you've been through, but I promise you it's not going to happen anymore, Mom said to her softly, and I saw the way her eyes watered as she nodded slowly before they continued cooking. Seeing how she reacted, I couldn't bring myself to reject her. She doesn't deserve that kind of treatment from her mate. I'll reject her later. Not just today. I can't do it today. I looked over at her one more time as I made my way to my room to grab my phone and some paperwork, and our eyes met. She held mine for a while before she quickly looked away. My breath hitched in my throat and my heart started going crazy. What am I going to do? Lola's POV. I breathed a sigh of relief as he left the kitchen. Damn this mate pull, I thought. He doesn't seem to feel it, though. He just acted like he was repulsed and disgusted by me. Tears clouded my eyes at the thought of being rejected again, and I tried to rein it in. You know, he's not like that to everybody. He has a story behind his behavior, but I hope he'll be able to see past it and hold on to you before it's too late. Luna Rose said beside me, and I raised my head up so fast I think I broke a cervical bone. He has a story? A story with women? A story with rogues? I could not see any reason why he'd reject me without even knowing me. I guess the moon goddess doesn't want me to know what it's like to have a mate that will stay by me. You know he's my mate? I asked her in astonishment, and she nodded her head, smiling at me sadly. Of course I know, darling. He's my son, and I'm the Luna of the pack for now. Nothing gets past me. I just need him to come to his senses. I did not raise him that way at all, she said and held my hands as she looked into my eyes. It's fine, Rose. As long as he's not going to kill me, I'm good with all of his decisions. He must definitely have a good reason for ignoring me, I said meekly, my hand still in Rose's. I really don't care what his reason is. I'm just grateful I can live. I thought, but I could not say such to her face for fear of being punished. Moonlit Pack was nice before they turned on me too. No, it's not fine, Lola. It's partially my fault too. His father and I thought he wasn't going to find his mate, so we chose a mate for him in the pack. If we had not done that, he wouldn't have had a choice in this, she said with sincerity, and I nodded my head. It wasn't their fault. If he wanted to be with me, he'd have chosen me the moment he met me. He doesn't want me, and he's made that as clear as day. I'm grateful he's letting me live, though. She hugged me, and I stiffened in her arms. I'm not used to physical touch that doesn't involve me getting hurt. She looked at me puzzled before she patted my cheeks and stepped away without asking questions, which I was grateful for. The rest of the cooking was uneventful, and I was thankful for that. I did not see Adrian, and I was able to relax all through. He makes me nervous. Lola is in love-y! Jasmine sing-songed in my head, and I wanted to smack her. I'm not the one that whimpers whenever he does as much as look at us. I taunted her back, and she scoffed before becoming silent. That's right, Jasmine, shut up. Just when we finished cooking, another man came in through the doors, and I went rigid again. I'm not comfortable around anybody else except Tracy and Rose. For now. He had a powerful aura that made me want to bow my head in submission to him. Rose cleaned her hands in a rush and ran towards the man, wrapping her hands around his neck as he easily lifted her up with her legs around his waist. They started kissing, and I looked away in embarrassment, my cheeks heating up. Rosie, it's only been about 5 hours since I left, and you missed me so much? The man laughed slightly as they broke up the kiss, and Luna Rose was on her feet once again. Oh, shut up, Jay. You know I don't like being away from you at all, Luna Rose pouted as she spoke to her mate. I was looking at them in admiration when it clicked in my head. Mate. Her mate. That means I'm before the Alpha King. My nerves returned tenfolds, and I wrung my hands nervously. He moved towards me, and I subconsciously took a step back. I saw Luna Rose put a hand on his arms, and he halted. They seemed to be talking through their mind link because everything was silent until I heard his authoritative voice. You must be Lola. Nice to meet you, child. I am Jaden, Adrian's father and Alpha King of this pack, he said as he extended his hands towards me, and I cautiously stretched a shaky hand towards his. Alpha, I said shakily and bowed my head further in submission. Please call me Jaden, he said, and my eyes widened. What's with these people and calling them by their first name? Was Moonlit Pack too fucked up, or is this pack too lenient? I nodded my head so I won't be deemed rude by not replying to an alpha. He smiled at me, and I took in his features. He looked like my mate, the only difference being the stray strands of gray hair on his own head. He looked muscular, like he works out a lot, and I was amazed by that. In my old pack, Alpha barely trained or worked out, so he had a potbelly despite his werewolf genes. This man looked effortlessly perfect. Not as perfect as Adrian, Jasmine purred in my head, and I resisted the urge to roll my eyes at her. I did not want to look rude to the man before me. Jay, go freshen up and come back to have lunch. Can you get Adrian on your way back too? Thank you, baby, Luna Rose said and kissed Jaden on the cheeks, which he reciprocated. All I asked from the moon goddess is this type of love, and she sent cruel love my way twice. Fuck you, Celine, I thought when Rose tapped me to shake me out of my thoughts. Let's prepare the table for our hungry wolves. Alphas don't like being kept waiting, especially when it comes to their meals, she said while giggling like a schoolgirl. I guess that's what being in love does to you. Jasmine sighed dreamily in my head, and I wanted to smack her. And we're never going to experience it, so stop daydreaming. Durr! I said back to her harshly, and she went silent. I don't want to be rude, but she needs to stop thinking we'll ever find love. Rose hummed happily as she set the table, and I helped her. Jaden soon came back, but there was no Adrian, so I breathed a sigh of relief. I suddenly became frustrated. How can I want to be with someone so bad, yet I don't want to be around him? This is fucking annoying. I had not finished my thoughts when his scent overwhelmed me, and I went rigid. I pushed myself to start moving again, and mentally sighed. This is going to be a long evening. Adrian's POV. I'd been staring at this page for over an hour without seeing what's on the paper. I tried concentrating, but my mind kept going back to one particular person, Lola. I needed to get a grip on myself for Moon's sake. I didn't like how she makes me feel, yet I want to feel everything with her. The way she seemed to stiffen around me made me sad and angry. But I have no one to blame but myself. I was about to damn all consequences and just pack up the paperwork I was working on and go to keep my mate close to me when my dad walked in. Hey, Adrian, Dad called out to me as he walked into my office, looking fit as ever. I swear this man never ages. Oh, hi, Dad, I called out to him and stood up to meet him halfway, sharing a manly hug. What are you up to, little man? He ruffled my hair while asking, making me grunt in disapproval. I love this man, but sometimes he has to realize that I'm longer his little Dryan. I'm 24 now. Dad, please, I'm not little Dryan anymore. You've got to stop ruffling my hair, I said, making him laugh out loud. Yeah, whatever, he said, ruffling my hair again. When did you get back? I asked, ignoring the fact that he just did what I told him not to again. I just got back, and Rosie said I should come and get you so we can have dinner, he said, smiling when he said Mom's name. He's so in love with Mom, and that's all I've ever asked from the moon goddess, but instead she paired me up with that beautiful, weak, and traumatized kitten. I sighed and rubbed my face with my palm before I felt Dad's hand on my shoulder. You okay, son? Father asked, and I just gave him a small smile. Of course, Dad, I'm fine, I answered him and tried to plaster a smile on my face. I'll freshen up now, go and meet your mom to have dinner. I nodded my head as he turned around and made for the door. He suddenly stopped and said, She looked so hurt and afraid when I saw her, and you're still treating her like this. You're just going to break her more, and it might be too late for you when you realize her worth. He left the room afterwards. I sighed after Dad left the room. Are they right about what they're all saying? Am I really just punishing her while punishing myself too? She's a rogue, though. They're never good people. You don't even know if she actually needs protection from us. You don't know if she needs us more at this moment. You don't know what she's been through or what she's going through, and you dare to call yourself an alpha? What kind of alpha will protect his people when he can't protect his mate? Daxon snarled in my head, and I saw red. An alpha that has witnessed firsthand what those vile creatures can do, Daxon. I growled back at him. You're just a coward that's afraid to accept that this isn't the same situation. You feel the mate pull, you feel the tingles when you touch, and you still think this isn't real? I won't sit down idle if she rejects us, Adrian. I won't sit still and watch my mate leave me because of your stupidity, he said, and I blocked him out. Why does everyone think they're right? So what if the mate pull is stronger and the tingles are there? It might just be another plot. I'm not letting my guard down anymore. I went downstairs and saw Mom and Lola setting the table. Dad sat down watching Mom with pure love and adoration in his eyes, and I felt a pang of jealousy at what they had. That's all I've ever wanted. Someone I could call mine forever, someone I'd love and cherish till death part us. She's right in front of us, dummy. Daxon huffed and I rolled my eyes. Why are you back so soon, Daxon? I blocked you out, I asked him in irritation. I was tired of him popping up randomly. I just wanted my peace. You're not the only one that gets to see my beautiful mate. I'm not here for you, I'm here for mate. Also, you can't block me out, I'm a part of you. Stupid, he said, and I was about to retort when I heard Mom's voice. Oh, Adrian, you're here. I thought you won't come down for dinner, she said with an emotion I can't describe in her eyes, almost like she was mad at me, but did not want to lash out at me. You spent a lot of time preparing the food, Mom. I wouldn't waste your effort like that. And besides, you make the best food, and I won't ever miss that. I smiled at her, and she smiled back a little. I'm not the only one. Lola here is a natural in the kitchen, and without her, I wouldn't have finished so soon, she said to me, daring me to ignore Lola with the expression on her face. I see. Thank you, Lola, I said to her and felt electricity run through me when she looked up at me and smiled a little. I ignored the feeling running through me and sat down beside Dad. We discussed some pack issues until they finished setting the table. I noticed that she set the table for 3, but said nothing about it. Mom carried the food to the table and noticed that Lola set the table for 3 people and asked her about it. Lola, child, why did you set the table for 3 when there are 4 people in this room at the moment? Mom asked her, and I sat up, curious to know why she did that. I did not know I was supposed to set a table for myself, too. I'm just a maid, and it's not right to eat with high-ranking wolves. It's considered rude, she said with a shaky voice, as if she was going to burst into tears at that moment. I wanted to pull her close and comfort her, but sat still in my chair, unmoving. I hope my face did not show how much my heart broke for her. I wondered who hurt her like that. Oh, Lola, we toiled in the kitchen together, and you thought it was okay for you not to eat out of the food? That's not right, and I command you to sit while I get your plate and cutlery. We are having dinner together, and I don't want any objections, Mom said and turned to pick her plates and cutlery. I noticed her trying to rein in her tears and wanted to know what really happened to her. Why does she look so weak and broken? How did she become a rogue? I wanted answers to this, but I couldn't ask because I do not consider her my mate. Mom brought her plate and set the table before dishing out food for us all. I noticed she only ate a small quantity of her food and just pushed the remaining around the plate. Mom and Dad did not seem to notice, though, as they talked and filled each other in on how their respective day went. I finished my food and was about to leave my room when Nathan mind-linked me. Hey, man. The next Alpha and Beta from Moonlit Pack are here. The Alpha claims we have something that belongs to him. You should probably get down here and talk to them before I throw them out of the pack, Nathan said, sounding angry, and I knew I had to go there right away. Nathan rarely gets angry. Dad, I have to reach the pack house real quick. Nathan said the next Alpha and Beta of Moonlit Pack are on the Packlands, and they said I have something that belongs to them. Nathan sounds angry, and that's rare. Those guys are clearly a bother, I said to Dad, and heard a gasp and spoon clanking with plates from where Lola was sitting. I looked over to her, and she looked as pale as a sheet of paper. Lola's POV. No, he couldn't have found me. I escaped him. I finally left that pack and its people behind, and I won't be dragged back there by Grayson. I did not know when my cutlery fell out of my hands and I started hyperventilating. The room was getting smaller. My breaths were coming out short and erratic. I felt like my lungs were being compressed and squeezed. I felt liquid run down my cheeks, but I could not even wipe them away. My whole body was numb and I could not react to everything going on around me. How did he know I was here? I masked my scent. He didn't even know I have a wolf. Nobody knows except the people of Crescent Moon Pack that saw me enter the Packlands in my wolf form. I felt small, soft hands around me, but that did nothing to comfort me. I started crying harder. I held my chest since it was getting difficult for me to breathe through my tears. I don't like this feeling. I already left it behind. It's okay, Lola. Calm down, please. I heard Rose's voice, but I could not react to it even if I wanted to. My body was in shock, and everything in my body seemed to not work. Electricity spread through me, and I felt a surge of peace throughout my body as larger, more callous hands held me. "Hey, it's okay. You're okay, Lola," I heard my mate's amazing voice, and I slowly calmed down. He held me as my body continued to shake, even though I wasn't crying as much as I was initially. "Oh my goddess, mate is holding us. His voice is so amazing, and his touch, oh, his touch. I was so jealous when he said your name. I want to hear my name too. You lucky, extremely lucky human." Jasmine gushed in my head as my shaking subsided and I could finally breathe again. "Jasmine, how are you focused only on the fact that we're being held by our mate? He doesn't even want us. He's probably just being nice, that's all. And Grayson is here in this pack to take us. How are you so chill right now?" I screamed at her in anger in my head and heard her whimper, but I wasn't having any of her fangirl acts at that moment. As soon as he realized I had stopped shaking, he dropped me like my skin burnt him, and I felt Rose take me into her arms, telling me how everything is fine and I'm safe. I wanted to scream out that I wasn't safe as long as Grayson was around. I wanted to spill everything that had happened to me to Rose, but shame wouldn't let me. The fear of being abandoned and blamed like my former pack did made me shut up and cry silently. I sent a quick prayer to the moon goddess. I know I had been cussing her out since I turned 18, but I was starting to feel like I belonged to this pack, and I did not want to be pulled out of it again. Rose led me to the couch and then brought me a glass of water. Her motherly eyes never left me. She was watching me like a hawk in case I had another breakdown, and that made me feel warm and fuzzy inside. "Jasmine? Girl? I'm sorry I snapped at you just before. I was scared and angry too. Scared that Grayson will take us. Scared that Adrian will hand us over to him without even hearing us out. I'm still scared that might happen. I was angry at myself for finding comfort in Adrian's arms too. He hasn't even acknowledged us as his mate. I did not want to give myself false hope. You chose the wrong moment to be a fangirl. I'm really sorry, Jas," I pleaded to her in my head. I knew I hurt her when I yelled at her earlier. "I'm sorry, Lola. I was just excited. I was in my mate's arms. I ignored what was in front of us at the moment," she answered me apologetically. "Lola, child, what's your relationship with Grayson?" Rose asked me, and I felt my heart rate going up again. "He is the future alpha of my former pack and my former mate," I answered her truthfully, and heard a sharp intake of breath from Rose and Jaden. "Former mate? You mean you had another mate before Adrian?" Rose asked me, and I nodded weakly, feeling tears stream down my face again. "Did he treat you badly? Is that why you ran away from the pack?" Jaden asked me, and I shook my head negatively. "He rejected me because I wasn't good enough and picked someone he wanted," I told her the partial truth. I could not dive into the details because I did not want to recount bad memories. "He rejected you, and that was why you ran from the pack?" she asked again, and I nodded my head. I couldn't tell her that whole truth. I did not want to be looked down upon. The whole room went silent, and I looked up to see Jaden's eyes glazed over. He was probably mind-linking Adrian. Rose kept running her hands through her hair in distress and looked to be holding in her tears. "Adrian wants you at the pack house, Lola," Jaden said to me, and I felt my hands trembling again. Oh, okay, I'd go there now," I replied in a shaky voice and made to stand up to leave. Jaden stood up too, and I looked over to him in confusion. "I am going to take you there, except you don't want me to?" he said, and I assured him I could go on my own. Rose gave me a hug before she saw me off to the entrance of the house. I gave her a watery smile as I left and waved at her once I was some distance away from the house. As I walked to the pack house, my thoughts raced 1,000 miles per hour. What if Adrian already made up his mind to give me back to Grayson? It's not like he liked me to start with in the first place. I could not even cry as I walked towards the pack house. I was numb and tired. I wanted to just crawl into my bed at Adrian's house and sleep. I even thought I was in a dream until I slapped myself to confirm. I met Lila as I made my way into the pack house. "Hey, bestie, how's Rose treating you?" she said animatedly as she skipped towards me. "Hi, Lila," I replied back meekly, and her face showed she wasn't okay with how I responded to her. "Just, hi, Lila? Is that how to—" She was about to reply to me when Nathan showed up with a stoic face. "You're here, Lola. Follow me, Adrian is waiting for you, he said to me, completely ignoring Lila. Lila was about to open her mouth to talk when I gave her a pleading look to drop the matter. I followed behind Nathan quietly, and Adrian's scent washed over me as we stood in front of the door. Nathan opened the door and I entered after him. My eyes found Adrian first, and he looked to be very angry, which made me shiver with fear. I hoped that anger was not directed at me. I made the mistake of looking around the room and found Grayson's dark, beaded eyes that made my skin crawl with the look he was giving me. This bastard truly found me, was my thought as my body shook uncontrollably. And it wasn't in a good way. Adrian's POV. I had to go see what made her have a panic attack. Or should I say who? I knew she was fragile and broken, but I did not know that the mere mention of someone would have her bawling out her eyes. Nathan, I'm on my way. Try not to hurt anyone before I get there. I might need to beat some senses into those mutts. I mind-linked Nathan as I made my way to the pack house immediately. I was sure Mother would be able to take care of her. Wow, man, is there something wrong? You sound pretty angry, Nathan asked, but I just remained silent. I had to see for myself first. Nathan was already waiting for me in the pack house living room when I got there. Oh, you're here. I had to leave the office before I beat both of them, since you ordered me not to touch them, he said immediately. I got close enough to him. When did they reach the border? What exactly did they say they wanted? I asked him as we made our way over to the office. It was immediately the Border Patrol alerted me about their presence that I went there. I mind-linked you immediately. They requested to see the Alpha because he had something that belonged to them, he said through gritted teeth, which is proof of his anger. I hope to God that none of them had touched Lola before, or they might be going back to their pack in a body bag, I said to myself. But Nathan heard me, thanks to his werewolf hearing. Lola is the reason they are here? Who do they think they are to demand for her like she's some sort of rag doll they own? His voice had changed slightly, which meant his wolf was present too. His wolf probably recognized Lola as Luna, even though I had not accepted her as my mate. I had to be the bigger person. I took a deep breath as I entered the office. I saw two guys, not older than 18, seated on the couch in the office. Gentlemen, how may I help you? I said to them. I walked into the room, making sure my alpha tone leaked into my voice. The one with black hair was the first to speak up. We are here because you have something that belongs to us, Alpha, he spoke up. And what exactly might that be, young man? I said. We haven't even met before, and I have something of yours? I asked and saw him slightly shiver in fear. That's right, a pup like you should know its place before me. A pack member of mine ran away after committing a great crime against me, and I learned that she's in your pack. I just came here to get her so I can punish her properly, he said. A crime? What sort of crime? Who's this packmate, pup? I fired the questions at him. I saw the way he and his companion exchanged weird glances when I asked what crime was committed. Lola, her name is Lola Ashton, he said, and I felt Daxon growling in my head when he said her name. What right does he have to call our mate by her name? He snarled in my head, and I had to take a deep breath myself, so I won't lash out at the scrawny thing in front of me. And what crime did she commit against you? She's on my pack now. I can't just hand her over to you, I asked him, and he and his partner grew uncomfortable where they were sitting. I asked a question, pup. I growled at him and watched them shake in their seats. That's between my P-Pack member Anne and I, Alpha, he replied to me in a shaky voice. I wasn't going to force him to talk. He'd spill it when he saw Lola in front of him. Immature pups like him can't hold in their feelings once they think they've gotten what they want. Very well. I'd have her be brought to you, I told him, and mind-linked Dad to bring Lola to the pack house. Dad mind-linked me, telling me she's on her way herself, so I told Nathan to go and get her since she might not know her way around the pack house. Nathan soon came back with her behind him. Her eyes found mine immediately she entered, and she looked away in fear. She looked up and looked into the bastard's eyes, and her body started shaking uncontrollably in fear again. From the corner of my eyes, I saw Nathan try to go to her, but I signaled to him to stop. I wanted to know what really happened. A part of me still believes that beneath Lola's innocent face and soft attitude, She had done something to incur the wrath of her former alpha upon herself. The young alpha Grayson seemed to be so happy to finally see her again, and it was not in a good way. He looked at her like a predator would look at a prey. He and his companion shared a look, and I saw the evil that went through his eyes in that moment. "Look what the tide brought in. You think you could run from your alpha, my little mate?" He laughed maniacally as he spoke to her. I heard Nathan's voice in my head. "Mate? I thought Lola is your mate. I think you might be right after all," he said, and I wanted to punch something. "You're not my alpha, Grayson, and I'm not your mate anymore. I accepted your rejection before I left your pack. Please, let me be. I did not do anything to deserve how you treated me. You have your mate now. Go be with her," Lola said shakily, with tears streaming down her face. "Listen, bitch, I found you, and I'm going to take you back to Moonlit Pack where you belong. And you won't fit in anywhere you go anyway. Nobody wants a worthless slut like you," he said to her, and his companion laughed alongside him. I did not know when Daxon took over my body and let out a thunderous growl that shook the pack house. He was on Grayson before he blinked or had a moment to register what's going on. "I dare you to say that again, pup," I snarled in his face, and his body shook uncontrollably from fear. "No one, I repeat, no one talks to her like that and lives to see another day. You'd leave my pack lands immediately, and if I see you look at her the wrong way again, you'd be leaving in a body bag. Do you understand me?" He nodded his head vigorously, and I looked over to his companion to see him cowering in fear too. Cowards. "Now, leave!" I did not have to repeat myself again before they ran out of the room and Nathan followed behind them. I looked over to where Lola stood, and she was still shaking while tears poured down her face. Our eyes met briefly before I stormed out of the office and left the pack house without looking back. Lola's POV. I was still shaking on the floor of the office, looking at the door through which Adrian stormed out. Am I that disgusting? Am I that unlovable? I kept thinking as more tears poured down my cheeks. I was happy that Grayson was out of the picture, but the look I saw in Adrian's eyes when I entered broke me. He wanted me to be at fault. He wanted me to be the bad person so he can have a good reason to throw me out of the pack. I was crying so much that it was hard to breathe. I knew Jasmine was having it worse because she's been silent since Adrian stormed out of the room. "Jasmine, I'm sorry I put us through this. If only I hadn't been born, if only I hadn't been so weak, we'd not have to go through these pain and rejection," I said to her tearily, and I could almost feel her shake her wolfish head. "Lola, it is not your fault that they can't look past the exterior and see that you're someone worth fighting for. You do not have to take responsibility for their stupid decisions," she said, and fresh tears fell down my cheeks. I wish I could be as strong as Jasmine was. I was always crying and showing weakness. That's why I keep getting rejected. About an hour later, I felt Lila come into the room, but I still lay down on the floor where I was when Adrian left the room. "Hey, Lola. I know you're not asleep. I can hear your uneven breathing. Why don't you get up and let's get out of here?" she asked calmly as she came near me, almost like she was expecting me to lash out at her with my claws. "But I do not want to leave this place. No one wants to see me anyways. I'd always be unwanted," I said tiredly, hoping she's going to leave me alone. But that was a wishful thinking. Bullshit. It's like you've forgotten that I said we are best friends now. Just because Adrian decided to be a shithead and reject a sweet soul like you doesn't mean everyone is like him. I don't know what you've been through, Lola, but I promise you that you can rely on me from here on. That's what friends do," she said as she sat down on the floor beside me. I took in what she said, and tears welled up in my eyes. I refused to let them fall. She was right. I might not find my mate, but I'm not stuck being a slave anymore. I now have people that care about me, even though they do not know about my past. I sat up and surprised myself by hugging Lila. She seemed to be surprised too, because she took a moment before she hugged me back. She pulled back and looked me in the eye. "Enough of the emotional moment. Let's get out of here." She stood up and took my hands in hers, pulling me up with her. She talked my ears off as we walked towards the kitchen, and I was happy for the distraction. I think I even smiled a little whenever she'd say something funny. Juliana was waiting for us when we got to the kitchen, and she pulled me into a hug when she saw me. "Oh, child, your eyes look so puffy and swollen, you poor thing," she said in a motherly voice, and I felt myself tearing up again before Lila stepped in. "You'd better not let me see any tears stain your fine porcelain skin again," she said to me sternly before facing Julie. "Julie, I just barely managed to stop her tears, and you want to make her cry again? You're supposed to feed her, not make her cry," she scolded Juliana, and I watched how the woman smiled sweetly at her words. "Of course, Lila. Forgive me, madam," she said to her jokingly, and Lila puffed out her chest in response, making them burst into laughter. "Sit down, Lola. I'll whip up something for you in no time," Juliana said as Lila pulled out a seat and forced me into it. "I just ate before I came here, Julie. I'm sorry, but I can't stomach," I was saying when she looked at me with a scary look in her eyes, shutting me up. "Luna Rose ordered you be fed, and I won't go against my Luna's wishes. I'm going to make you a sandwich. It's not going to take long at all," she said, and faced the cooker again. "You should never reject food from Juliana. She can be scary when you don't accept her offer to feed you. I once made that mistake, and I had a bloated stomach for days. She made me eat 3 extra portions for refusing her. You need to see how I looked like a balloon that was about to pop for days," she whispered to me, and I smiled a little. "You do know I can hear you, right? If you do not shut your mouth, I'm going to make you eat 6 portions next time," Juliana threatened, and Lila instantly shut her mouth. She gave me a look that says, "See, I told you so," and I suppressed the urge to giggle, lest she gives me 3 extra sandwiches. "Oh, that reminds me. Luna Rose said you can stay at the pack house if you want. She figured you might not want to run into Adrian," Lila said, just as Juliana placed the sandwich in front of me. Rather than replying Lila, I decided that stuffing my face with food is a better idea. I looked up and saw Lila looking at me expectantly. Lila, you do not mind me sharing your room for tonight, right?" I asked, and her face lit up and she nodded her head aggressively as she did a happy dance. I felt myself getting a warm feeling in my chest, and I sent a prayer up to the moon goddess for bringing me into this pack. I might not be wanted by my mate, but I suddenly have people that want me around, and I couldn't be more grateful for them. After eating, Lila and I went into her room, and she gave me her clothes to change into. I noticed that while she seemed to be wearing less clothing, she gave me clothes that were long enough to cover my whole body, which I was grateful for. As we laid in bed, waiting for sleep to take over us, I asked a question that had been nagging me since I left the office floor. "Lila, do you think the whole pack knows that Adrian doesn't want me, even though I'm his mate?" I asked, dreading the answer that was going to follow. "It's a small pack, Lola. Words travel fast. I'm sorry." I nodded my head after I heard her speak. "It's not her fault I have a shitty fate." With the possibility of being a laughingstock in the pack and never getting someone to spend the rest of my life with on my mind, I fell asleep restlessly. Lola's POV. I woke up in the early hours of the morning with a massive headache, and I did not want to get out of bed for the fear of being a laughingstock in the pack. People can be so mean, and I did not feel like being an object of ridicule today. I felt Lila waking up beside me, and I acted like I was sleeping so that she'd let me be in peace. "I can hear your uneven heartbeat, Lola. Why are you pretending to be asleep?" she asked. Damn werewolf hearing. "I'm still asleep. I don't know what you're talking about," I said with my face buried in the pillow, and she laughed before sitting up in bed. "I see you're still really asleep. What's the matter, Lola? Is this about the question you asked before we went to sleep yesterday?" She sighed when I nodded my head. "The pack might have known about all that happened, or not, but I promise you that no one will make you feel less of yourself just because of that. And even if they tried, they'll have me to answer to," she said while cracking her knuckles, earning a giggle from me. "I don't know what happened in your last pack, and I won't be pushing you to talk, but I want you to know that you belong here now, and I won't let you be bullied. Bettelst friends, remember?" I looked her in the eyes at that, and she smiled at me, making me smile too. "You know what will make you feel better? A long, hot shower to clear your skin, and I'll braid your hair afterwards. How does that sound?" she asked excitedly, and I nodded in excitement too. I noticed that you avoided touching my things the last time you had your bath here. Lola, I'm not going to get mad if you use my things. I can easily replace them. I order you to wash your hair and body thoroughly this time around. I nodded at her before I remembered that I don't know what is what and how I'll use them. Lila, I don't what is what nor how to use them. I've never used them before, I said in shame, and her eyes widened before she masked her facial expression. That's not a problem, Chica. I'll show you, let's go. She held my hands and led me towards the bathroom. She walked over to her shelf of girly products, and she removed about 7 bottles from the shelf and placed them on the counter. This is shampoo. You lather it into your hair to wash off grease and dirt, she said, holding up a bottle. She did the same for all other bottles, and I was excited to try them all by the time she was done. She offered to wash my hair, but the possibility of having to remove my clothes and have her see my nude body made me refuse her offer. She seems to understand where I was coming from and left me to do my business. I had so much fun washing my hair and getting cleaned up. For the first time since yesterday, I heard Jasmine purr in pleasure in my head. At this rate, you might as well be a feline, I said to her with laughter. She only purred in return. I exited the bathroom to find the room empty. Jasmine wasn't in the room, but there were clothes on the bed. I dried my hair with a towel and brushed through it. I looked in the mirror once I was dressing up, and I liked what I saw. I was slowly learning to appreciate my appearance. I steeled my heart as I left the room in search of Lila. I sent a quick prayer to the moon goddess that I wouldn't meet any pack members on my way to the kitchen, where I knew Lila will be. I had almost made it to the kitchen undetected when I collided with a wall and fell flat on my ass. I held in my whimpers of pain and tried to stand up when I saw the wall was in fact a man. I was about to start apologizing when I heard my name from the stranger's mouth. I looked up at his face, but I did not recognize him. I took some steps back to outdistance between us. Does Grayson have men planted around this pack? How did this stranger know my name? My thoughts were running at miles per hour, and I thought of ways to escape when I heard his voice again. Lola, it's me, Jace. Do you not remember me? His voice cut through my thoughts, and I felt myself coming back to the present. Jace? I repeated, the name sounding familiar to me. Yeah, your best friend from 10 years back. We used to be inseparable back in Moonlit Pack before my mom decided to move another pack with her chosen mate. Do you remember me? He said. Memories of young me and a boy of not more than 12 running around our house back in Moonlit Pack. I was heartbroken when he left with his mom, but Mom said he was going to somewhere he can be happy with his mom. Jacey, I ran towards him and engulfed him in a hug, taking both of us by surprise. He laughed and gently patted my head. I pulled back from him and smacked him on the chest, surprising myself yet again. Ouch, what was that for? He whined while rubbing his chest. I crossed my arm and glared at him. You promised to always write to me. Your letters stopped coming a year after. Do you know how heartbroken I was? I pouted, and he pulled me into a hug again. I'm sorry, Lola. I heard you were killed in a rogue incident alongside your parents. If not for your unique hair and eyes and the fact that I know what you smell like, I wouldn't have known you were the one. He apologized, and I totally understood his point. Moonlit Pack made it their life mission to make me forgotten. The whole wolf world thought I was dead. What exactly happened, Lola? He asked. Not wanting to reply him, I hugged him again. He understood that I did not want to talk and was patting my back when a loud growl tore through the room. I jumped from Jace and looked towards the direction the growl came from and saw a fuming Adrian. He was looking at Jace and I with so much venom that I wanted to crawl into a hole and die. The next words he spoke broke me and broke the self-esteem I was slowly building. Maybe your former alpha was right after all. You're just a slut that's not worthy of love, he spat with venom and hate. And with that, he stormed out of the pack house. Adrian's POV. I woke up the following morning after Grayson came to my pack feeling like shit. I realized just how bad I had been treating Lola. I desperately wanted her to have fault so I could reject her, but she was so perfect. So perfect for us. The moon goddess wouldn't pair us with someone that's not perfect for us, Daxon said in my head, and for the first time since I met Lola, I agreed with him. Events of yesterday came rushing back to me, and I felt my heart break more, the way her eyes seeked mine for validation and support. Immediately she entered the room, even though I desperately wanted her to be the one at fault so I could kick her out of my pack. Her cries after I left the room kept haunting me. I was the reason for her heartbreak. I was the reason for her tears and agony. What kind of a mate does that to his fated one? I could not bear the guilt that I had treated her like trash when I should have been her support system, so I went out on a run to clear my head. I knew you were making a grave mistake, human. I'm sure what we saw is not even half of what she has gone through. Mate was so broken, yet you stormed out of the pack house without even comforting her? I don't know how I got paired with a stupid human like you. Daxon growled loudly in my head, and I did not even have a comeback for him, because I knew I fucked up royally. I kept running through the forest in my human form. I had cuts from trees and sharp stones, but I did not stop. The physical pain was nothing compared to what I was feeling inside. After running for about an hour, I decided to open my mind link, and I regretted it immediately I did. Mom's voice rang through my head in anger, and I almost stumbled back from the anger in her voice. Adrian, you better get the fuck here in a blink of an eye. Do not make me come after you, young man, she said, and the mind link went silent. Sighing, I made my way back to the house, ready to face Mom's wrath, and then apologized to Lola afterwards. I took a deep breath and opened the door, only to pause a little once I entered the house. Mom was sitting on the couch while Dad held her hands and tried to pacify her. Once she locked eyes with me, I almost stumbled back, but I maintained my stance as much as I could. And what exactly do you think you're doing, Adrian? I understood that you had problems accepting her because she was a rogue. Why did you leave your traumatized mate alone when she needed you the most? Why did you allow that stupid mutt and his friend go scot-free when they should have gone back in a body bag? She asked calmly, and I knew Ezra was in control. I needed time, Mom. I needed to clear my head and get my thoughts together. I planned to apologize her when I got back. Where is she? I asked, looking around the room and towards the stairs when I couldn't find her. Her scent lingers around, but it was very faint. I wouldn't want to be near an idiot like you if I were her. She's at the pack house. You can make all your apologies in the morning, she said venomously. I've only seen Mom like that once, and the anger wasn't directed at me. Mom stormed off, leaving Dad and I alone in the living room. Dad came near me and gave me a pat on the shoulder. I hope she's ready to take you back. I told you that girl should be cherished and loved, he said lowly before he went after his wife. Taking a moment to pull my act together, I made my way up the stairs and went down the hallway instead of going into my own room. Her scent engulfed me, and I felt even worse that I already did. Her fragile body came to mind, and I genuinely wondered what she keeps under her long clothings. I hoped that bastard Grayson did not touch her, or I'd have his pack wiped out. With her on my mind and her scent engulfing me, I went to bed and woke up in the early hours of the morning. I woke up with the determination to win her back and love her the way she should be loved. It's about time you finally came to your senses. We should go and see Mate immediately this morning. You've deprived me of my mate for so long. Daxon yipped happily in my head, earning a chuckle from me. Who would have thought the big bad alpha wolf is like a puppy when it comes to his mate? You don't want to scare her with your excitement when we see her, Dax. She still doesn't trust us, I said through the mind link, earning me a scoff. I wonder whose fault that is. I could feel him rolling his eyes, and I shook my head in amusement. Petty bitch. I went to work out to relieve myself of my anxiety. I worked out for about 2 hours before I decided to go wash up. Daxon keyed on pestering me to go and see Lola, so I blocked him out about an hour ago. To be very honest, I'm anxious and maybe a little scared that she'd reject me after the way I treated her yesterday. I had my bath and dressed up to go and see her at the pack house. I met Mom in the kitchen, but she totally ignored me. Just great. I'm starting to think my parents wished she was their child instead of me. On entering the pack house, people greeted me, and I nodded in acknowledgement, but there was only a certain blue-eyed beauty on my mind. Walking further into the pack house, I smelt her before I saw her, but the scene before made my blood boil, and I let out a thunderous growl. She jumped back from the man she was hugging, and I saw that it was one of my warriors. I resisted the urge to move closer to them and snap off the guy's neck. Instead, I said something that I'd regret for years to come. "Maybe your former alpha was right after all. You're just a slut that's not worthy of love," I said in hurt and anger. Then I stormed out of the pack house, not even giving her a chance to explain the situation I saw, Lola's POV. I felt so hollow and empty. I thought I couldn't be affected by whatever he says or does anymore, but was I wrong? I could not properly hear what was going on around me. All I heard was echoes and distant sounds. "Lola, Lola, can you hear me?" I heard someone calling out to me distantly and tried to reply, but I could not. It felt like my lungs were being crushed and I could not even cry out for help. I suddenly took in a large gulp of air and came back to the present. Jace was kneeling beside me with a worried look on his face. I did not remember how I reached the floor nor how long I'd been out of it for, but the look on his face made me realize that it was bad. "Lola, can you hear me now? Do you recognize me?" he asked worriedly, and I laughed. I really laughed in that situation. "Why do you look so worried, Jacey? I'm fine." I smiled at him and he ran his hands through his hair in frustration. "You're fine? Lola, you were numb and unmoving for over 5 minutes. I called you severally. You did not give me any response. You just sat still and unmoving. If I had not seen the rapid rise and fall of your chest, I'd have thought you were dead. Yet, you claim to be fine?" He was practically screaming at this point. Ignoring the fact that he looked like he was about to explode, "I'll like to be left alone," I said to him. He looked at me like I was crazy and hesitated. "Please," I pleaded to him, and he nodded before he left me. I picked myself off the floor and made my way back to Lila's room. I was not crying nor feeling anything. I just stared blankly at the door until she came in. "Are you okay, Lola? What happened with Adrian? How did you know Jace? He was the one that came to get me." She fired rapidly once she saw me sitting on the bed, staring blankly at her. As if on cue, the waterworks started when she asked me questions. I suddenly felt like my heart was being ripped apart. I cried out in pain while clutching at my chest, trying to relieve the pain I felt inside of me. Lila rushed towards me and held me in her arms while I cried out my eyes. She did not offer any words of comfort or tried to make me stop crying, which I was grateful for. Jasmine wept silently in my head, and I could not even comfort her. Adrian did not know what I went through at my former pack. He did not even know anything about me, and he had the guts to say such words to me. Why does the moon goddess think it's a good idea to pair me with people that don't think highly of me? For about an hour, I cried and Lila held me through all of it. I was grateful to at least have someone that could be there for me. I calmed down, and she let me go when I wriggled my body. "Are you done crying over that dumbass that doesn't know what he's missing out on?" she asked once she let me go, and I gasped. "He's your alpha. You can't speak about him like that," I exclaimed, and she rolled her eyes. "I can and I will. A man that thinks he can treat his mate like this can't have my respect," she said, and I giggled a little. "I swear, you're so crazy and fearless." She flipped her hair over her shoulder with pride. "Yeah, I know I am. He messed with the wrong person. Nobody fucks with my friend and gets away with it." She flipped her hair dramatically again, and we both laughed. Now, we need to forget all these boy dramas and problems and have a girl's day out," she said excitedly. "I'm not sure about that, Lila. I don't think I want to be around pack members after what happened in the pack house today. The story would have spread all over the pack," I said sadly. "That's why we're leaving the Packlands. I doubt you've ever been to the human town. They have such big malls and very, very amazing structures and restaurants. It's so different from our pack," she said excitedly. I was about to say something when she interrupted me. "I know what you're going to say, and I've got it all solved while you were crying. The Luna has given us her permission to leave the Packlands and go have fun. We're going to need a car, though. We need to reach the Luna's house to get one." At the mention of going back to Adrian's house, my eyes widened, and Lila rolled her eyes at me again. I wonder how her eyes haven't stuck to her skull with the amount of times she rolls them in a day. Before you freak out, he's not at the house. We'll just see the Luna real quick, get you a change of clothes, and then leave. With that, she jumped off the bed and dragged me up with her. We ran through the pack house, and everybody looked at us like we were crazy. I was out of breath by the time we reached Adrian's house, but Lila looked like she did not just run at all. Man, I'm so weak. No wonder no man wants me, I said to myself. Rose engulfed me in a hug immediately. She set her eyes on me. I'm so sorry, Lola. I promised I raised him right. I don't know how he turned out like this, she said, sniffling, and I hugged her back tightly. You're not responsible for his actions, Rose. You're not responsible for his actions, I replied while hugging her back. You guys should break it up. She needs to be ready before our ride gets here, or our plan is going to go up in flames, Lila said, prying us apart. I swear that girl has too much energy in her tiny body. She pushed me towards the stairs. I went to my room and met my bed ruffled like someone slept on them. Adrian's scent also lingered in the air, but I ignored it. I went to wash my face and freshen up. I wore the clothes I had on again and went downstairs. I saw Nathan, Lila, and Rose having a heated conversation which stopped immediately. They sensed me. When Rose saw me, she gave a signal to Lila and then led Nathan away from the living room. Nathan, darling, I need you to help me with something upstairs. Come with me. Nathan followed her, and that was when I saw Lila hold up a car key. She grabbed my hands and led me out of the house hurriedly. A sleek car was parked in front of the house, and she rushed me into the vehicle. Without wasting time, the vehicle came alive and Lila sped off with an evil laugh. Why are we running away? I asked her when she continued speeding, even when we already left the house behind. A thought suddenly occurred to me, and I gasped. You did not just steal Nathan's car, did you? She laughed in response, and I wanted to scream at her. Yo, calm down. I did not steal it. I took it with Rose's permission, she said, and I calmed down a bit. Do you know what I also took with her permission? I shook my head in negative to her answer. Adrian's black card. She waved it in my front, and I felt my eyes widen in panic and my breathing quickened. Turn around this instant, Lila. We're definitely going to get punished. How can you be so crazy? I asked in fear and agitation. Adrian doesn't like me one bit. He'd be so mad if he found out that any of his money was spent on me. I rambled on, and she just let me panic while she continued driving. When I was done panicking, she spoke up. We have the Luna's permission, and getting his money spent lavishly is what he gets for messing with you. He won't know you spent any money. He's loaded, she said, and I calmed down a bit. With that being said, sit back and enjoy the ride. We're going to have one hell of a day, baby, she screamed into the deserted road, and we both laughed. And let me tell you that she wasn't lying when she said we were going to have one hell of a day, Lola's POV. We drove for a while before we entered the humans' town. I was amazed by the amount of people that roamed the street and went about their activities. No one was surprised to see anyone. It was unlike the packs, where everyone was in anyone's business. It took a while before we got to our destination, and I marveled when I saw the very large space that consisted of other large spaces that Lila told me was the mall. People trooped in and out of the mall in groups with kids as a couple or individually. They all looked carefree and happy, and I wanted to feel that way too. I was lost in thought when Lila shook me vigorously and told me to leave the car. You didn't plan to stay there for the whole of today, did you? We came here to have fun, and fun we'll have. Get down so we can enjoy the rest of our day, she said excitedly, bouncing from toe to toe. I slowly got out of the car and walked towards her. Rose had only one rule. You must never stray from me, she said, and gripped my hands tightly in hers. We walked into the mall and my jaw dropped when I saw just how beautiful it looked. Different shops with different names filled the big building. People seemed to have no care in the world and just went about their day alone, with their friends or with their loved ones. I can't decide where I want to go to first. I have a lot of things I want to show you. I'm going to list places we're going to visit, and you will pick one, she said as we stood in the middle of the mall. But I've never been here, and I don't know what all these places are, nor what is done there, I told her. exactly why you're picking out the first location, girl. You won't be biased. Okay, so we have the boutique, the spa, and the saloon. Which one will you be going first? She asked me expectantly, and I was confused. I don't know, Lila. Spa? I asked uncertainly, and she clapped her hands excitedly. Excellent choice, Lola. I knew I could count on you to make the right choice for us. She held my hands and dragged me towards the so-called spa. I don't even know what a spa is. Spa, here we come, she shouted excitedly, and people looked at us weirdly. Great going, Lila. Can you please tone it down a bit, Lila? You've been here a gazillion times, and you're even more excited than I am. People are giving us weird looks, I told her, and she screamed a little bit more just to spite the people looking at us. I giggled at her antics. They can give us looks all they want. We're here to have a good day, and a good day we shall have without being told how to behave or what to say, she spoke, never letting go of my hand nor slowing down her pace. I was about to ask her when we'd get to the so-called spa when she stopped in front of a store with Serena's Spa in beautiful cursive letters in front of it. My favorite spa in the mall. Be prepared to feel like a newborn once we're done here, she told me as she opened the door. I was greeted by a calm, soothing scent that I can't place. It was a combination of lavender, chamomile, rose, amber, and other herbs that I can't distinguish. I felt at ease and loved the whole of the place. Look who's here, my favorite customer of all times, a voice sounded in front of us. And you brought a friend, she said as she smiled at me warmly. Serena, I missed you too. Lila ran forward and hugged the beautiful black woman in front of me. I stood awkwardly, not knowing what to do or say. The woman was taller than us, and she looked effortlessly stunning. Her black long hair was in braids, and it was decorated with beads. Her brown eyes shone, and her appearance looked like that of a hipster. The woman came close to me and gently patted my hair, sending waves of calmness and peace through me. She smiled at me, and I found myself smiling back. I felt like I've known her for a long time, even though I just met her. You grew up well, child. I'm proud of you for persevering and coming this far, she said with a sad smile on her face, and I got confused. I have never met the woman before. Have we met, ma'am? I asked, and she seemed to be pulled out of whatever trance she was in. My apologies, young lady. I was carried away for a moment, she apologized to me before turning towards Lila. Why don't you introduce me to your friend, Lila? She asked, and that seemed to jolt Lila out of her confused state too. She came forward and her bubbly personality returned. My bad, Serena. I felt you already know her with the whole thing that happened just now. Serena just rolled her eyes at her words, but she continued anyways. Serena, this is Lola. She's the newest addition to our pack. I'm sure you already know all that. I got confused by that part. Lola, this is Serena. She's also supernatural like us. She's psychic. I did not know they were a real thing, I mumbled, and Serena laughed. She led us towards a room where long tables that I was later told were massage tables have been laid out. The scent of herbs in this area was stronger and helped me relax more. You ladies can go change in the inner room while I prepare for your massage. Lila, I'll have one of the girls get ready for you. I need to take on Lola myself, she told us as she gave us a white fluffy bathrobe each. The bathrobe felt so comfortable and soft, I could wear something like that for the rest of my life. I got out and met Lila already laid on the massage table while another pretty girl massaged her body. Serena led me to another room. You won't be getting a full body massage. How about aromatherapy with a slight body massage? I figured you won't want to expose your body, she said, and I readily agreed. You really are psychic, I said to her, giving her a grateful smile, and she smiled back. She prepared different herbs and placed them around the massage table. The smell got stronger and overpowering as I heard her whisper some words under her breath. I suddenly felt very sleepy and drowsy. As the herbs got stronger, I felt like my soul was leaving my body and being transported to another realm. I looked towards where Serena stood and saw that her eyes were completely white. I got afraid, but I couldn't move my body. Before I could scream, I heard an alluring voice in my head. Come to me, child. Then I lost consciousness.